A first win since a 2-0 success against Motherwell on the 7th of October. Let's head quickly to Chick. We didn't get the team news from you earlier on, Chick.
No, give you a row, Richard, as the teams come out here at the Smythe Stadium. Traditionally, of course, Jerry Rafferty's Baker Street Paisley man that he is. Two changes on the Saints side tonight. They go with Hemming in goal. A back three of Fraser, Gogic, Taylor. Then Bolton, who comes into the side. Backus, O'Hara and Tanzer. Ousanya, Ayunga and Kilty, the starting lineup for Saints. Erminski, Flynn, Mandron, McMenamin, Boyden, Small, Dunn, Nick Manny and Jimison on the bench for the Buddies. Kilmarnock, just one change in that side. Heard Derek McInnes describe that. Tuis, they go with Will Dennis in goal, then Neil Finlay, Dees and Dava across the middle of the park. Danny Armstrong, who I would give a call to be considered for Scotland if you're asking me. He can also play incidentally for Ireland and England, so maybe we want to get our hands on him. He's been outstanding this season. Anyway, it's Armstrong, Watson, Lyons and Kennedy, Watkins and Vassell up front. On the bench for Kelly, Kieran O'Hara, Joe Wright, Mackenzie, Sanders, Davis, Dallas, Warnock, Polworth and Gary Mackay-Stephen. The referee here at Paisley, as we're just getting underway, is Ewan Anderson.
And a decent turnout, Chick, as we were anticipating earlier on.
Yeah, well done to Kilmarnock fans. They filled that airport end stand. Well done to them, except they've just thrown a couple of flares on the pitch, which are burning the surface, and the stewards have to hold up the game to get them off, which is a bit annoying to us all who are watching on. But that is a big crowd up from Kilmarnock. Good St Mirren support inside as well. Saints will be kicking off once we get these fireworks, I was going to say polystyrene, pyrotechnics off the pitch. We've all got others underway.
Oh, Chick, there's nothing worse than polystyrene on the pitch. Awful.
Indeed. I was going to say plasticine at one point.
Well, I think it's probably pyrotechnics is the word you were fumbling in the dark for.
You knew where I was going.
We all knew what you were talking about. Chick, thanks for that. He'll keep us up to date if anything happens there, and Jane will do likewise at Livingston. It was interesting listening to Derek there. Derek McInnes done a great job. I think everyone would agree, Willie, at Kilmarnock, but he was talking about how tight it is, how every manager's looking for consistency. The last 9 games, they've won 4, they've drawn 2, a couple of nil-nils I think, and lost 3, but all the wins or losses have been by a single goal. And you can get the sense that in that part of the table it's just going to carry on like that.
Well, my experience of Derek was he liked to win with only a single goal in it. In fact, he used to make sure that it was only a single goal in a lot of the games. But no, I'm joking. If that gets back to Derek, well, they're having a bit of fun. Watched them, for what was it, 8 years at Pittodrie?
Yeah, just about.
Bringing in some wonderful performances, some great teams, always well organised. When Rangers was out of the league, finishing behind Celtic. Unfortunately, Celtic.
I did it once with Rangers in there as well.
Yeah. Is that when they first came back into the league?
Yeah.
And very close actually at one stage against Celtic.
2016.
Yeah.
17.
Not too far away from it. So he could produce exciting performances, but in my experience at Aberdeen, he normally always produced winning performances, and I think that's important for a manager. Yeah, I think the fans get a little bit tired. Sometimes a relationship like that can just peter out. But it was nothing to do with the quality he has as a manager. He's right up there at the very top. Obviously turning down Rangers as well, the opportunity to go back to his old club, to stay with the Dons, and a candidate for the Scotland job as well before Steve Clarke was given the nod to, and doing his magic, waving that magic wand at Kilmarnock at this moment in time.
Yeah, wins, 2 wins against Celtic, 1 against Rangers this season. They're currently in 4th position. I mean, he's got to be looking at a European spot right now, hasn't he?
No, I mean...
No. Or
sorry,
yes.
Well, sometimes I say no when I really mean yes, Richard. You know what I mean?
I'll take that on board.
No, it's undoubtedly, Richard, how's that? Undoubtedly,
that leaves me in no doubt
a chance of a European spot. And what I was going to say was, I think that no was to give me a little bit of time my prediction at the beginning of the season was the team that I expected to do well this season was Kilmarnock, and I think that was because of the personnel. A lot of very good players, Vassell, Top Watkins too, who I know from Aberdeen. Danny Armstrong, as Chick says, excellent really season. Good. Anytime I've watched him, been a real threat. Matty Kennedy as well, doing extremely well. So I think when you add that quality of player to the quality of manager that Derek McInnes is, and he's not doing too bad without that Tony Docherty, is he? I think Tony was actually holding him back in his career. And again, I apologise to Tony. We're having a little bit of fun with Tony as well. But both of them did a fabulous job at Aberdeen over a long period of time, and both of them doing extremely well. The managers just now in their own rights.
Well, it's Kilmarnock and Derek who are in action this evening against St Mirren and Stephen Robinson. Chick, of course, is in Paisley. Early stages, Chick, how's it looking?
Yeah, it's Richard. I haven't played that long because the pyrotechnics I described so well held up the play. I mean, I think we really have to look at that. There may be another time for a discussion on that, but couldn't get the game started. Everybody was hanging about. They were still burning on the pitch. And ironically, in the Kilmarnock box, it came out where the Kilmarnock fans are gathered. We are underway now. St Mirren have actually had the best of it and creating a couple of chances early on here. I think the wind is behind Saints. It's hard to say it at the ground, as I said earlier on. It swirls a lot here. In fact, you can see the corner flags are actually flying in different directions, so that'll tell you what's happening. But a good atmosphere inside the ground. Big Kilmarnock support, big crowd actually inside the Spiza Stadium. St Mirren have got a throw in on the left side, and it's them who have created the early pressure, packing players forward. Long throw into the box, doesn't actually do that well. It's bouncing over the place, and Kilmarnock will deal with that and get it away. And it is Danny Armstrong who gets up the park. He's a good player, Richard. He really is, and I'd like to see him getting caps in Scotland because he has options, as I said. He could play for Ireland or indeed England.
Yeah, I mean, you might be stretching it a little for England, I would have thought, but
yeah, well,
I think we would all agree that Danny, I mean, the last year and a half, he's been absolutely excellent.
No, he has. He's been outstanding, and I mean, let's face it, Chick is used to fantasy. You know, when you start talking about
football as well sometimes.
When you start talking about him for England, I think that's just a little bit too far-fetched.
I'm just being factually correct, though, Willie.
For effect.
No, he's available. I think he was born in England.
Okay.
However.
Anyway, fantastic season.
Take your point.
Yeah, fantastic season this season, a real threat. There's no doubt about that as well, and doing a fabulous job for Derek.
Yeah, totally. Let's go to Jane. She's also got some live action to watch at Livingston.
Yeah, I have indeed. We've played 4 minutes here. Half chance for St Johnstone, the visitors. Actually, the ball was switched out wide to Gallagher on the left. Good ball in for Stevie May, who's back in the side. But Nicky Clark, who was also back in the starting lineup after coming on as a sub last time out and scoring, just couldn't quite get his head to it. It was a decent ball in, though. Still 0-0. Livingston has a corner kick. Obalai rises high but doesn't get anything on it. It's 0-0 here. Very chilly, Richard. We're hoping that this game will warm the cockles of our hearts. What do you think my chances are?
Well, I have great hope that might indeed be the case, but having spent many a freezing evening at Livingston, I fear your dreams may be vanquished over the course of the next few hours. Well, yes, you and Chick with your dreams and fantasies. 2 games off today, of course. Rangers against Ross County, Aberdeen against Motherwell, Jane's at Livingston St Johnstone, Chick is at St Mirren Kilmarnock. We're gearing up for kick-off at Easter Road, the second Edinburgh derby of the season. The last one on October the 7th, a 4-goal thriller at Tynecastle.
The Edinburgh Derby, Hearts.
With it being a derby, it's get that extra edge. Being at home, you want to engage with the fans and give them something to cheer on.
Versus Hibernian.
Perfect conditions for a derby. Can't wait for the crowd to be roaring at the kick-off, and the boys are ready. We'll be giving everything we can to get 3 points today.
Hearts have a stranglehold of this game right now. Forrest moving in field, goes for goal!
Oh!
Absolutely magnificent from Alan Forrest, who breaks the derby deadlock. Heart of Midlothian 1, Hibernian 0.
And Alan Forrest is somebody who's coming into experienced years of his career. He just has that consistency because he's got top quality.
Definitely not good enough in the first half, and I told the boys that at half-time. Probably the first time I've lost my temper.
Swing over the right foot into the box again. It's a Hibs man who gets onto it. Away by Fish, but it breaks back to Lowry on that left-hand side of the box, driving into the area. Low ball across, it's in!
The second goal came against a run of play. Horrible goal, deflection.
Alex Lowley celebrates. Might well have come off a defender. It's a long old way back now for Hibs. Hearts 2, Hibs 0.
It was thrilling at times, it was really good.
Thought the reaction was spot on.
Johan trying to get in, he's in, he scored! Eli Johan rifles the ball past Sander Clark.
Talk about big character. I told Ellie at half-time, I need more from you. You know, he's a massively talented player, and he knows that first half he wasn't good enough, as well as the rest of the boys.
Does it get on? It's another chance, another goal! Eli Johan scores again! 2 goals in just over a minute for Hibs! 2 goals in just over a minute for Eli Johan! And they have sensationally squared this Edinburgh derby in the blink of an eye here at Tynecastle. Hearts 2, Hibs 2, quite astonishing!
Second half he gets 2 goals, so that's all you can ask for that reaction.
And I'm sitting here disappointed just because such a short period of time's cost us a comfortable one. We've not won the game that for large parts we're comfortable.
Can't be more proud of the boys for coming back, but I can be disappointed with the way we started the game, and next time we have to start better.
The Edinburgh Derby.
What a comeback it was by Hibernian in that one at Tynecastle. Here we are as we move towards the end of 2023. The players will be getting ready to emerge. It's that big game atmosphere, and we will have the full live commentary to come. Jane, you've had a big opening at Livingston.
Yeah, there was a really good chance for St Johnstone just a couple of minutes ago. Stevie May racing through. He was up against the Obalai, who was trying to, certainly was alert to the danger. He was trying to clear the danger, but May got the better of him, squared the ball to Nicky Clark, who agonisingly shot wide. He should have done better. It was a glorious chance. The goal was almost gaping, crying out to be hit, but he shot wide, and it's still 0-0 here.
So goalless there, goalless 2 in Paisley, where it is St Mirren against Kilmarnock. As soon as anything happens in either of those matches, you'll hear about it live right here on Sports End on BBC Radio Scotland. The players will be emerging shortly. Willie, we're watching the pictures here. It's I mean, it just looks like a magnificent occasion. There always will be when it comes to these two going head to head. These two going head to head, Willie.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I mean it's all set up for an absolute cracker. Obviously Hibs needing to close that gap, but you know, Hearts will be determined, I'm sure, even though they're away from home, to extend their lead. Stephen Naismith has had a really good run recently. Nick Montgomery is playing catch up, but it sounds as though the atmosphere is right up there, and I'm sure it'll be an exciting evening in Edinburgh, and a game that everyone will be looking forward to.
Well, I know John Hughes will be absolutely looking forward to this. It will be getting you all pumped up, the atmosphere there, John.
Yep, it certainly is. We're just about ready to go. The teams aren't out yet, but you know, that atmosphere. And I have to say, the overhead conditions and the pitch is looking the best I've ever seen it. So, well done to the groundsmen. Overhead conditions, not too bad, so hopefully we'll have a great game of football.
Yeah, John said earlier, Michael, just finally, first half hour, it's all about, I suppose, almost trying to get your second wind. It's so full on. It's important that these players handle the occasion early on.
Yeah, of course, it's a huge occasion. You want to make sure that you're competitive first and foremost, and that's why perhaps it just takes a little bit longer to settle. I mean, there's been a lot of games, Edinburgh derbies, where the game never has settled, you know, which is not normal. The intensity is there throughout, and then it's perhaps lacked a little bit of quality. So you've got to be competitive, because if you're not, you're going to be overrun, and that's certainly the case. I think I'd agree with John there that the opening stages, you've got to make sure you're up for the fight and the battle, and then when the game does settle, if it settles, you've got to show a little bit of quality to get your noses in front.
Highlights of these matches on Sports Scene tonight. BBC One Scotland 10:30, Livingston St Johnstone, St Mirren against Kilmarnock. We'll keep you right up to date with those. Our commentary, of course, comes from the capital. It comes from Easter Road. It's Hibernian against Hearts of Midlothian. Full live commentary here on Sports and BBC Radio Scotland with John Hughes, Michael Stewart and Liam McLeod.
Thanks, Richard. Good evening. I have to say, the visuals and optics here absolutely magnificent, with the flamethrowers at both sides of the pitch, sending the flames up high into the sky as the players made their way out onto the Easter Road playing surface, which, as John says, looks absolutely perfect for a fixture of this magnitude. And of course, it's always huge when these two go head to head here in the capital. The 146th league meeting between them at Easter Road. Hibs have won 43, Hearts 55. 3 of last season's clashes between them came here. It was a win apiece and a 1-1 draw. Hibs have only, though, won 1 of the last 12 Edinburgh derbies. They need that to change. Try and make inroads on the Lawrence Shankland-inspired Heart of Midlothian this season. Just about ready to go here. It's a chilly old night, but the wild conditions have subsided. And Hearts will kick off. They're going to go right to left in the maroon and white. Hibs in green and white will shoot towards the big south stand. I have to say, the away supporter is something that certainly doesn't seem to be flavour of the month at the moment, but these derby games in Edinburgh, when the entire stand's given away to the visiting support, it just makes for the spectacle as Hearts kick off, shooting towards the famous 5 end. It's rolled back to Kai Rolls, who goes far out to that right-hand side, flicked out by Obita for a Hearts throw-in. It's about midway inside Hibs territory. Who will settle the quickest? Always difficult on Derby Day. Shankland picks up wide in the right, down by the corner flag. Looks to cross in. He wins the game's first corner as well. Inside the opening 13 seconds of the derby. Hearts corner. Over on that right-hand side. And what a good start that is by the visitors.
You get everything you're asked for. You want to get on the front foot, Liam, you know, and, you know, corner every chance you know. When this comes in, what you have to do is you have to make sure you're competitive and try and be the first one to get on it.
It's Alex Cochrane who's going to take the game's first corner. Left-footed, in-swinger, in on top of the Hibs 6-yard box, and it comes, headed away out towards the edge of the penalty area. Denham will try and keep this alive, facing his own goal. He rolls it all the way back to Xander Clark, who launches it forward with the left foot. It's his 50th appearance for Hearts tonight. Also, coincidentally, his 300th senior appearance as a professional. As Kai Rolls picks up the ball, there was a flag on the near side against Boyle, and Hearts take the quick free kick, and it's moved out to Atkinson on the far side. Back to Frankie Kent, who rolls it into the feet of Benny Beningame. That's a dreadful ball, straight to Josh Campbell. Hibs have it with Dylan Levitt now, just outside the centre circle. First feel of the ball for the home team. It's with Rocky Bashiri, who switches it to the right of the centre circle there. And it's Will Fish out to this near side for Miller. Up the line, cut out though. One back here with Cochrane, and now Shankland buoyed off it, but the loose ball breaks to Nieuwenhof down the left-hand side. Miller pinching it back off him, rolling it in field to Levitt. Little clever chip to Campbell, tries to flick it back towards Levitt, but gives it straight to Beningame. And now it's with Frankie Kent. Kent then rolling it out to this near side. Another loose ball. Campbell, another loose ball.
Well, I'll tell you, Josh Campbell has had 2 opportunities to get the ball through for Martin Boyle. On both occasions he's fluffed it. Real big opportunities, because that one Frankie Kent plays it straight to him and Boyle's through the middle. He tries to play it down the line for Vente instead, gets cut out. And the other occasion when there was a turnover in the middle of the park with Beningame, if he'd been quicker, instead he passed it off to Dylan Levitt. If he'd been quicker and he'd opened his eyes through the middle, Boyle was making a run right through the heart of the Hearts defence again.
Long throw-in coming up for Hearts down this left-hand side. Cochrane with it, level with the Hibs penalty spot. Into the box it comes. It's not decisive from Bushiri. Forrest tosses it up into the air. Shankland going after it. Joe Newell gets there and boots it away. Now Boyle looking to get it into his stride, hooking it back over Atkinson and driving forward. Might manage to find Campbell. Atkinson with a really important cut out there, just as it looked as though it was coming through to Campbell, who'd have been one-on-one with the keeper. Hearts clear their lines down this near side, and it comes all the way through to David Marshall inside his own box. As frenetic as you expect right at the start. 3 in, 0-0.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at the tactics here, Liam. You know, certainly Hearts with a 5 at the back. Who pushes onto the full back of Hibs? You know, it looks like it's left to the front three. Shankland will be one of them.
You see already, that's the out ball. That is the out ball. Obita's up the line, loads of space, and just before...
It'll be the 2 full-backs for Hibs.
Yeah, the out ball.
The 2 full-backs will be the out ball. You know, the Hearts wing-backs are getting pinned in. Campbell's pinning one of them in, and Tavares is pinning the other one in, so...
Now hold on, the referees, there's a VAR check, and John Beaton's coming over to the monitor on this near side. It looks like it could be a possible
be
penalty here for Hearts.
Rocky Parisi for the last ball in, long throw in. Parisi had his hand in the air.
Well, something's gone on just a minute or so ago. We'll get Brian to confirm it. He's got a monitor, I think, Brian.
Yeah, I'm just having a look just now. There's a ball comes in, and it looks like it looks like Rocky Bashiri's left arm is up above the head, and it's definitely come off the arm.
Brian, here we go. John Beaton's had a look. It's going to be a Hearts penalty here. Hearts have a penalty. 4.5 minutes into the derby, a handball against Rocky Bashiri, and what a chance. Hearts have to make the dream start.
It was come for a long throw-in. It was a long throw and it got thrown in, and at the time it looked quite awkward, but he certainly had his hand well above his waist.
It's terrible defending, first and foremost from Bashiri. I'm not 100% sure who the Hearts player is that he's challenging with, but his arm is over the top of him, and you can see the ball. I mean, it's just very, very poor defending, and completely understand that. For me, falls in the category of your arm's there, you're running the risk.
Right. Lawrence Shanklin has yet to miss a penalty in Hearts colours. Their top scorer, their talisman, their go-to steps up. Right-footed penalty from Shanklin off the post. He's missed the spot kick for the first time as a Hearts player. The skipper looks on, dejected. It kissed the outside of the left-hand post. Marshall didn't even have to make the save. And after 5.5 minutes, already jam-packed with drama, it's Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
Well, it really is jam-packed because it's been a frenetic start, and then the handball incident through VAR, and Shanklin to miss it. It is quite incredible. It really is. You know, you came out with the fact just before it, Liam, not missed in Hearts colours up until that moment. That is a huge let-off for Hibs.
Now Hibs come away in the counter with Jair Tavares down the left-hand side, bustling into the box, pulls it back, and by Kent. Out for a Hibs throw-in. Well, this has got all the ingredients of a classic so far. Still very early on, still in the infancy, but both teams bang up for this.
Liam, that attack though, it comes from a straight ball from the back line into Abita, who's able to charge up the line completely unopposed, plays it quickly over the top for Tavares, and Atkinson is at 6 and 7. He doesn't know what position he's playing. And John mentioned it before, it happened straight after it as well. The full-backs for Hibs have got acres of space.
But if you wanted a goal, you wanted your man who scored 9 in his last 10 Premiership appearances to be the one to step up and take that spot kick. Finally, he fails in that regard. And Hibs have a throw-in over on the far side of it, level with the Hearts penalty spot. And the Hearts fans up the other end of the stadium were so sure they were taking an early lead. Obita with the throw-in into the penalty areas, headed away by Kent, breaks to the edge of the area for Campbell, slips it out wide right for Boyle, not quite what he intended, but Boyle's onto it now. Level with the 6-yard line, delicate chip ball comes in, and it's held on to by Xander Clark in the Hearts goal. It is goalless, 7.5 played here. And it's a long one from Clark. Underneath it is Obita, heads it up towards the halfway line. A header from Denham, who was the Hearts player incidentally involved with Bashiri in the incident that led to the penalty. As Levitt scoops it out to the left-hand side for Obita.
Look at that space for Obita.
It'll happen over this side as well. That's what I'm saying. When you're unopposed, not playing against wingers, if you're an attacking fullback, which is Muller and Obita is, then you should be on the ball all day long. The reason being, Michael, is because the Hearts wing backs are pinned in.
Yeah, but
they're pinned in.
The wide men.
Yeah, the wide men, they're pinned in.
So the thing is for Hibs, and they've done it so far, they've recognised that.
Yeah, with Campbell and Tavares, so they're playing against Soap.
Well, Hibs lost their first 3 league games this season. They've only lost 3 since then. And Nick Montgomery, up to this point, undefeated at Easter Road as Hibs manager.
I mean, it's clearly something that Hibs have worked on. You know, the Hearts are setting up in this system, pin them back into a back 5, out ball with the full-backs in the wide areas and drive forward.
Miller takes a short throw in to Campbell, back to Miller, midway inside Hearts territory, goes back to the halfway line, and Will Fish switches it to Bashiri. We mightily relieved from seeing Shanklin strike the goal frame.
of that penalty. It's back with David Marshall at the edge of his own penalty area. Angles the ball forward, it's not great, comes straight off Atkinson, who caresses it forward to Denham, controls in the chest. The Hibs fans felt it was a hand, but it's out for a Hearts throw-in, and as Denham plays it off Ovita on the far side, just a few yards inside the Hibs half, and Atkinson over it. Got an option in Maroon, he's got one in Stephen Kingsley. He's one of 3 changes by Stephen Naismith for the game this evening. Naismith looking for his first Edinburgh derby win as Hearts boss. Kai Rolls slips, but he's on to it. There's 3 changes for Hibs as well. Inside that lost at St Johnstone last time out. They didn't have a game at the weekend. The match against Ross County postponed. The weather wreaking havoc with the Premiership fixture card right now. The games at Ibrox and Pittodrie called off earlier on today. It's back with Zander Clark just inside his own penalty area. No goals in the other 2 matches being played this evening. We'll get to Chick and Jane, who are watching St Mirren, Kilmarnock and Livingston, St Johnstone respectively shortly, as Cochrane slides in. Now Shanklin pops out with it, now driving forward. Forrest to his left if he can find him. Forrest inside the penalty area, chance to chop onto the right, his effort's blocked, and it pings out to that reverse right hand side where Atkinson will let it go out for the throw-in.
I think it's Joe Newell that's actually got back. He's got, you know, Forrest has got played in. It's a turnover in midfield. Shanklin's on it, running forward, played Forrest in down the left, and he's cut inside the fish. And I think it was Joe Newell that got back and actually got the block. He got his shot away, and it was Newell that got back and got a great block in.
Scored that absolute rocket when the sides met in that 2-2 draw down the Gorgie Road in the autumn. Throw-in Hearts, Kingsley over it, wide in that far side in front of the Big East stand, and it comes, headed away by Ovita. Back in by Nieuwenhof. Little bouncing ball. The Hibs fans shout for handball. John Beaton, the referee, agrees. And it will be a Hibs free kick at the edge of their own box. Let's go to Paisley. Chick Young, St Mirren, Kilmarnock.
Yeah, 23, nearly 24 minutes into this one, Liam. It's still 0-0 between St Mirren and Kilmarnock, but Saints thought they had the lead. John Ayungo got the ball into the net. There was a great run by Olasanya down the left side, but there was an offside decision, went against the alleged goal scorer, as I said, just chalked off, but good play by St Mirren. The wind is behind them, it's gone end to end. It's flown in actually, first quarter of the game, packed stadium in the Smizer tonight. Corner kick, or thrown actually, to St Mirren at the moment. They've dealt with that again of Kilmarnock. It remains at the moment, as I said, 24 minutes gone. St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 0.
We'll go along the road from here to West Lothian and Ammanville in just a moment, but Hibs have got a throw-in level with the Hearts 18-yard line. Avita takes it, gets it back immediately from Levitt down that left-hand side, looking to slip it forward towards Newell, but Hearts clear. It comes all the way through into the Hibs half for Rocky Bushiri, who squares it to Will Fish just beyond the midway point of his own half, takes it up towards halfway. A really loose ball there by Fish, and now Hearts could be in. It slipped through to Shanklin by Denham. Shanklin left-hand side of the Hibs penalty area. He moves on to the right. His shot's blocked. Flicked away by Newell. Was he pushed? Noses the referee. It's now Alex Cochrane taking it for a run. Little low ball forward is cut out, and Hibs come away with it. And again, a poor ball by Miller.
I tell you, that is countless occasions. Campbell, Miller and Fish with poor passes that have gifted Hearts the opportunity to go and break on them, and they're lucky because that was a gaping hole in the back line there. And if it had been a little bit better weighted, Shanklin was right through.
Yeah, the young boy had to play the pass. Don't break your stride, Lawrence.
He was a Vita down the left-hand side, low ball across, breaks to Vita! His shot's blocked, and they all scream for penalty! And they've got one as well! Hearts in a penalty early on and missed it! Hibs have their own one! Another handball! Vita's effort was blocked 8 yards from goal, and Hibs have a penalty on 13.
Well, my instinct is that it is a penalty, that Rolls' arm is up.
He's been booked as well, Kai Rolls.
But I've got to say, Venti should be scoring. The ball should be nowhere near. Should be nowhere near Kai Rolls. He should be out his feet and passing into the corner of the net. Now, I might be proved wrong here with Kai Rolls, but it certainly looked like it hit his arm. We will see with VAR. I stand by that. It shouldn't be a penalty. It should be a goal to Hibs.
Well, they're just double checking this, and the decision is penalty. So Andrew Dallas has poured over it. And he says penalty, and Martin Boyle has spotted it up. This is just Hibs' second penalty of the season. Their only other one was converted by Adam Lefondre in a defeat by Motherwell in August. Martin Boyle right in front of the Hearts supporters in the south stand, right-footed, shots off the post again. The rebound, Boyle can't get there. Ventus' efforts blocked. Still it's alive, it's been given away straight to Forrest. Now Xander Clark's made a save there, down low to his right, he's touched it onto the woodwork, and it stays after 2 missed penalties in the derby. Hibs nil, Hearts nil. Incredible.
Absolutely unbelievable, Liam. But I tell you, the rebound, Josh Campbell's got to do better. He steps onto it in not a bad position, and he completely sclaffs it.
Did he take it first time, Campbell?
Yeah, and sclaffed it. I mean, absolutely unbelievable scenes.
Right, we'll tell you what, we'll dissect that in a moment. There's been a goal in Paisley, check.
And it's a goal for the visitors. It's for Kilmarnock. St Mirren caught flat at the back. Ball was played into Marley Watkins in a plenty area around about him, and he drove it home. Actually, Kilmarnock coming forward again here, and Watkins just drove that ball into the net. They are ahead. Remember, St Mirren had the ball earlier in the goal. It didn't count offside against them. Kilmarnock 1-0 up, and again the pyrotechnics coming out of the Kilmarnock support have held up the restart. We're underway again, but that was becoming a bit of a problem. In any case, they don't care. They're ahead in the game. It's St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1.
Marley Watkins continuing his good run for Derek McInnes and for Kilmarnock, who lead 1-0 in Paisley. St Mirren just the one home defeat this season. That came against Rangers. We will get to Livingston in a moment. Last I heard 0-0, but the drama here is unbelievable.
Non-stop, Liam.
Non-stop. And another
great save.
And yeah, it's a brilliant save from Xander Clark.
Down low, onto the post. But I go back to what I said before the penalty. Dylan Vente should have scored. Ball comes back to him, he's in the middle of the goal. His first touch wasn't great, it got stuck under his feet a little bit, but for me he still should have been able to miss Kai Rogers and slide it into an empty net.
It's a long ball for Boyle to chase down the right hand side, level with the Hearts penalty spot, low ball across, and Atkinson puts it behind for the corner with Jared Tavares in behind him, waiting for a tap in. 16.5 on the clock. It is goalless.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's what Hibs can do, you know. When you're playing with the wing backs and they're getting sucked forward like Cochrane, you can just play it off the top, over the top of him, down the channel. Boyle's pace will get there all day long.
How many times has it happened already, John?
Yeah. We're down the left hand side, we're down the right hand side. All Hibs need is a goal.
You can see that's a tactic they've been working on, also with the full-backs getting out.
In comes the corner from Boyle, headed away. Well, it'll come off a Hibs head. Campbell was there, but Abita will pick up the scraps wide in the left, hooks it back towards the edge of the box where Kingsley knocks it out for a throw-in to Hibs over on that far side.
If you think back to the goal here that Barry Robson was not particularly happy about, it's the same thing. Sucking the defenders out, straight ball over the top. It's not luck when you can see it's a recurring theme. Martin Boyle's playing through the middle for exactly that.
Long throw in into the Hearts box where Hibs is headed away around about the 6-yard line, back in by Newell, comes all the way through to Clark, who holds on. 17.5 on the clock here, 0-0. 1-0 Kilmarnock. Marley Watkins' 6th goal of the season coming in Paisley. They lead St Mirren. Jane Lewis watching Hibernian and St Johnstone. Yes.
Yeah, it's 0-0 here. A couple of decent chances for both sides, to be honest with you, Liam. St Johnstone frontman Clark and May, they're causing all sorts of issues. They're really pacey, they're really full of energy as well. Clark had probably the best chance of the game, you could argue. It was good work by May, getting the better of Obalai at the back, squared the ball to Clark, but he could only shoot wide. And then up the other end, Livingston, well, they've threatened too. Nottingham's long ball towards goal, right on top of Mitov, to be honest. All he could do was come out. He had to, because Guthrie was there lurking, but it's still 0-0 despite those chances.
Yeah, those two other games kicking off 15 minutes before this one, as Shankland hoisted into the path of Alan Forrest, driving down the left-hand side. No sign of Lewis Miller. Forrest in the box, moves to the byline, tries to pull it back, and then off Miller it goes for a Hearts corner down on this near side.
That was good play from Hearts. Yeah. You know, good movement for the front two. Shankland just pulled into a pocket of space, and Hibs got dragged all over the place. Shankland, nice ball round the corner. Big gap that Forrest was driving into. I just thought could have been a little bit more incisive.
Yeah, just put it across the box, see what happens. You know, get in there with a bit of pace. You never know what happens.
Cochrane will take the corner, left-footed, out-swinging ball into the penalty area, flicked only half away. And then Bushiri goes in the challenge, and Kent, just as it looked as though it was falling beautifully for Frankie Kent, Hibs get it away up towards the halfway line. Again, there's a couple of players playing in the edge defensively for Hibernian there. Big switch out to Cochrane is really good. He just didn't quite have the control to match. And Hibs have it on the near side, but I don't think Miller's managed to keep that in play, has he? Yes, he has, says the assistant down on this near side. So the ball is still alive, but it's in Hearts' possession with Atkinson, who turns it to Kent and then out to Kai Rolls. 19 and a half on the clock, no goals, but both teams have missed penalties in this game. And a dramatic opening to the second Edinburgh derby of the season. And it's with Kent just at the edge of his own box. Right, it comes to Kingsley, playing on his unnatural side on the right, left-footed ball forward, just comes bouncing off the shin of Denham and all the way through to David Marshall. Little underarm ball out to Miller on this near side. He's down the right-hand side, cut out by Kai Rolls, his compatriot, now with Cochrane on the turn. Keeps it in play, challenged by Campbell and out for a Hearts throw-in. And Stephen Naismith offers some words to Cochrane down on this near side. That difficult start to life as Hearts manager here at Easter Road, losing that derby last season, penultimate one it was, and then the 1-1 draw at Tynecastle at the end of the campaign, and the fracas that went on after that. It's picked up here by Kent, who turns it out to Kai Rolls on this near side, left foot chip ball forward, one in the air by Bushiri, heading it into the Hearts half. Neuenhoff on the slide, manages to get it back to Kai Rolls, and out with Beningame in the centre circle. Just crossing the halfway line. Side football along the deck to Atkinson on that right-hand side. Atkinson comes back though into his own half for Kingsley. And then to Kent again, who has looked to be an excellent signing for Hearts, Frankie Kent. Big switch out to Cochrane on this near side, controls it well, slips it through into the Hibs penalty area with a low ball. It's Forrest. Forrest thought about moving to the byline, eventually pulls it back to Atkinson at the edge of the area. Capable from there, closed down though. Has to instead play it short to Denham, who goes back to Beningame. Now Neuenhoff, and then Kai Rolls out to Cochrane on the near side. Back to Rolls, just level with the edge of the circle in the Hibs half. Hearts have Hibs hemmed in here. Beningame eventually rolls it back into his own half for Kent. And now Rolls back to his keeper. The Hibs fans happy that they managed to push Hearts all the way back to Xander Clark. We were approaching the end of the first quarter. It's just diffused slightly from those opening 10 minutes, but that's a long ball's been missed by Will Fish, but Bushiri slides in to prevent Forrest profiting on it as he attacked the 18-yard line, and it goes out for a Hearts throw-in level with the 18 on this main stand side.
All a little bit last ditch when I don't think it was any real need. It should have been a better setup. All you've got is a straight ball. You've got the centre half going to deal with it, and Will Fish has got to do better. He misses it completely, fortunately, and good play in terms of the players are covering round, but just feels very, very last ditch.
Cochrane's long throw into the Hibs box, headed away just to the right hand side of it by Dylan Venter. It's picked up by Cochrane on this near side. He's tried to switch it out to the right flank for Hearts, headed half away by Obita, but it's been picked up, and it's the visitors who are coming forward. Neuenhoff, who couldn't quite get onto the Kingsley ball, and Kingsley slides in on this near side and puts it out for a Hibs throw-in, which will be taken by Lewis Miller. It's been pretty frantic stuff, John Hughes.
Yeah, it has been, as we said before the game, 22 minutes gone, had 2 penalties, team that's at end to end, and there's been a lot of slack stuff. The game needs to settle down a little bit, put your foot on the ball, make a few passes, and it opens up. Trust each other, it opens up, and that'll happen as the game starts to quieten down.
Beat on the left hand side, bursting across the halfway line. He's got an option to his left in Tavares. He couldn't quite find them, and Atkinson slides in and puts it out. It's not quite working yet, Obita and Tavares.
But I'm just looking at that switch he played to Obita. You're looking for Forrest to go and track him. He doesn't want to be tracking him, he wants to be playing up the pitch.
Dylan Levitt crosses in, looking for his namesake Venter, but it's booted away by Kingsley first time. Goes deep into the Hibs half, where Bushiri has it, and he rolls it back to David Marshall. Marshall's short ball to Bushiri. We heard the St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson in the build-up talking about Shanklin and Boyle, two players he wishes he could sign. Both of them, though, have failed this evening from the penalty spot. First it was Shanklin, then it was Boyle, and that's why it remains goalless here in the capital. Goes back to Clark, rolls it to the left of his box for Rolls. Long ball drifting up towards the halfway line. It's Fish beating Shanklin to it, to Levitt, cushion header out to this near side. Miller's not going to get onto it, it's going to go out for a Hearts throw-in on this near side. That's gone the other way, it must have gone off Beningame last. Miller level with the edge of the circle, just playing it short there to Campbell, and then back to Miller, and then back to Fish. Square ball to Bushiri. In the 25th minute of the game, 0-0 here, 1-0 Kilmarnock in Paisley, goalless Livingston, St Johnstone. 5 minutes roughly away from the half-time whistles in those two matches here on Sportscenter this evening. We'll keep you up to date with how that's going. The games at Ibrox and Pittodrie postponed. 3-0 win for Celtic at Dundee yesterday. Jair Tavares down the left-hand side, little step over against Atkinson, fires the ball across, Venta heads it down off Rolls, and another penalty appeal. This time it was headed down by Venta, who struck Rolls for the Hibs penalty earlier. It stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
It's come over his head, it's certainly hit his arm, but his arms are at his side. You know, nothing he can do about that.
Also, for me, instinctively there, is Johnstone. It's gone over his head, so it's behind him. I would just think it would be extremely harsh for somebody to get punished when they don't even know where the ball is.
Yeah, there's no suggestion they're giving this a stoppage to check it, so game on.
But we're looking at, again, every chance Hibs are getting, it's down the sides, crosses, and that's because the Hibs fullbacks are free to come, and if it's not them, it's the wingers, be it Campbell or Tavares on the other side.
Both teams
look like take and get crosses in.
Yeah, both teams look like they can get lots of joy down the left, don't they? Both sides.
Yeah.
They already have. As Kent collects midway inside his own half, central area, long raking right football, comes all the way through to David Marshall, who holds on. It's been action-packed, but it's been so scrappy at times. Loads at stake.
It's probably led to it being an exciting game.
Yes, exactly. Hibs trying their best to reel Hearts in. I have to say that out of the two, if a winner was essential, it would be for Hibs, because if it was to be a Hearts victory this evening, the gap there between the two would be 8 points, and even though we're just about the midway point, it would be at the midway point, it's still pretty big gap at this stage. And it goes out to play with a Hearts throw. And Hearts, incidentally, got a relatively kind fixture list coming up over the next 7 games after this one, before they run into Hibs and the Glasgow 2 again towards the end of February. So a good couple of months coming up for Hearts if they want to make hay. They'll feel for the games against sides currently embroiled in the bottom 6. It's Hearts in possession down the right-hand side, given away, but Atkinson trying to win it back. Little header from Forrest does win it back for Hearts to Nieuwenhof, who sweeps it low back into his own half. And Kent just got caught in 2 minds there, gets away with it, finds Beningame, finds Nieuwenhof, and now it's with Atkinson. Poor ball with the outside of the boot, straight to Campbell, who he then fouls, and that will be a free kick to Hibs midway inside their own half. 0-0 here in Leith. 1-0 Kilmarnock, thanks to Marley Watkins and Paisley. Goalless Livingston, St Johnstone and Amundvale. Hibs in possession with Abita down the left, an early cross into the box, headed behind for the corner by Kent. Hibernian corner.
Well, there was a couple of phases of play before where David Marshall had the ball and Hearts set up a lot better. They were higher up, they were able to stop Hibs from building out. But then there's another quick free kick, the ball's rolled into Dylan Levitt, and he's able to pass it out to Abita, who's got so much space. If they don't sort it out, they're going to get punished.
Chance from the corner then for Hibs. It's their first And it comes flicked away by Shanklin. Bushiri gets a head onto it, and he can only nod it down into the ground, and it's booted away by Atkinson, running at the penalty spot now for a Hibs throw-in on this near side. Wasn't the worst delivery in the world from Martin Boyle.
No, they'll fancy that. Bushiri, Fish, the two of them, they're very physical, linked to go and head to the football, and if you're putting that kind of quality in, these guys are willing to go and do that.
50-50 on the possession. 2 missed penalties. The Hibs one was saved by Clark. Missed opportunity though, as Miller bowls the ball into the box, headed away by Cochrane. Newell with the header up into the air to the right angle of the box. Cochrane heads away again, and he was being fouled as well by Lewis Miller. And that will be a Hearts free kick just outside their own box. And Zander Clark will come out to take. Yeah, 50th appearance for Zander Clark, Mikey, with Craig Gordon now breathing down his neck. It's been as poor a time as it's been for Craig Gordon. He's worked hard to get back, particularly at his age. He's 41 at the weekend, Craig Gordon, but Zander Clark hit the 50 mark tonight. How do you think he's done?
A very, very capable deputy to Craig Gordon, who had his opportunity through injury to come in, and he's done well. I don't think you could say anything other than that. He's done well for Hearts. There's a big save there today, and it's a difficult situation to manage for Stephen Naismith, because you've got a generational talent in Craig Gordon coming back from injury, but Craig can't play on forever. But there's such a huge carrot at the end of the season, obviously, with the Euros, and then you've got the Zander Clark element of it, that if Craig was to come back into the team, how much that affects Zander Clark and his future at the club.
Well, he's eyeing up the Euros as well.
Well, of course, but also from Hearts' perspective, Zander Clark's going to be playing a lot longer than Craig, so there's no easy solution to that. But certainly at the moment, Zander Clark is the guy that's in possession of the jersey.
0-0 in the derby. Beningame for Hearts. Another loose ball, though he slipped just as he released it. It's through to Miller, who goes back to Marshall. You just feel Benny Beningame still trying to get back to his best. But the Beningame we saw in his first season at the club, remember it was his debut against Celtic, wasn't it? Postecoglou's first league game. He was outstanding that day. He continued to be for most of the season, but like Liam Boyce and Craig Halkett's obviously been out as well, but he and Boyce, I think they've become bosom buddies, because they were having to battle back from long-term injuries around about the same time, and they both spent a year on the sidelines. Still just feel he's not quite back to where he was, and understand that. Kai Rolls comes forward, rolls it into the centre circle for Shanklin's challenged well, and the pinball breaks kindly for Martin Boyle. Right hand side of the Hearts box, pulls it back for Campbell, whose shot's blocked, and that will go behind for a Hibernian corner down in this near side. Almost on 32. Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it was once again, it was a turnover. It got played into Shanklin. They couldn't keep a hold of it, and as you say, the ricochet getting tackled for Perizzieri. It broke to Boyle down the right hand side, and all he wants to do is get there, get his head down, get forward, and a great ball across.
Hibs corner, first from this near side, main stand side. Joe Newell is over it, in swinger with a left foot. So this is going to, you suspect, go in on top of that 6-yard box. Zander Clark just off his goal line, and it comes towards the back post area. Bushiri wins the header, but it's harmless. So heads it high and wide. Goal kick Hearts. 0-0 here on a chilly night, late December at Easter Road. It's just lacked the finesse so far, Mikey, hasn't it?
Yeah, because there's been some very, very good openings for both sides. For it to still be 0-0 is incredible at the moment.
The passing's been poor, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think there's
the final pass, Michael, the final pass.
Up to certain areas of the park, it's been not bad, but then that final pass is let both sides down.
Hearts have it with Atkinson right of the circle, out to Denham in the Hibs half. Denham chopped to the ground by Newell, and he's gone down. He's been wrapped on the Achilles there by the Hibs number 11. It's going to be a Hearts free kick over on the Hearts right, a few yards inside Hibs territory, heading towards half-time, but in stoppage time. The other two games being played tonight: St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1, Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0. We'll keep you up to date with those two. as Cochrane prepares to take this free kick. Level with the edge of the circle on that right-hand side into the 18-yard line, headed away by Newell, or rather headed in towards his own box by Newell. Bushiri and Shanklin battle for it. It pops out to Venta, who clears with the left foot and out of play for a throw-in on the far side. Venta, Boyle and Shanklin be the ones ruining missed opportunities to put their respective teams into the lead here. Shanklin from the spot in the opening 4 minutes, and then Venta's effort, which led to the penalty, but he'll be regretting not sticking it home himself there, as Boyle failed to capitalise on the spot kick. Hibs free kick over on that far side, midway inside their own half. It's taken quickly by Abita, back to Bushiri. Switches it to central defensive partner Fish. Moving towards the final 10 minutes of the first half. It's another one of those long balls towards Venta, just skips away from him. Clark comes out, read it. He's not far away at all.
What a chance that was. If he could have just got a touch on it, you know, he spun over the top. Just need to get a touch on it, he was in.
It's a dreadful ball by Lewis Melody. Dylan Levitt in a little pocket of space to his left. It's after like Nieuwenhof, he was so weak there, Michael.
But it's not only that, it's like he's blinded to, I have to play the ball down the side of the defence for runners. And you're absolutely spot on. There was acres of space for Dylan Levitt.
And now Nieuwenhof's popped it through to Forrest, who is also in space. Wide left of the Hibs box, he wins the corner. Just knocking it off Fish. Hearts corner. It is half-time in Amon Vale. Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0. In that one we'll get a half-time update from Jane when we get the chance, and Chick and Paisley will be heading towards half-time there as well, with Kilmarnock leading St Mirren by 1-0. All about St Mirren's away woes. Are they about to lose for just the second time at home this season? Cochrane's corner comes in, not a great header away, bounced off Shanklin. Levitt's on hand though to clip it away and out for a throw into Hearts on this near side. It is 0-0, and it's been an error-strewn performance from both teams for large swathes of this first half. So the throw in from Cochrane finds Shanklin towed out by Levitt for another Hearts throw in, level with the Hibs 18 on this near side. Cochrane looks as though he's going to bowl this high into the box, because Kai Rolls and Frankie Kent are very interested and have joined the party inside the box. Stephen Kingsley's in there as well. Cochrane winding up the long throw into the Hibs box. It comes, it's been allowed to bounce, and Shanklin got a touch, but it is back to goal. It just squirmed away from him, and Hibs get it clear. Loose ball picked up by Cochrane in the midfield, and now it's with Kingsley to the right of the circle to Denham. Back to Beningame in his own half. Strides forward, then rolls it back the way to Atkinson. Low short ball to Rolls. It goes back to Kent. Hibs pressing the game well here, forcing Hearts back into their own half. Long ball Kingsley. Bushiri favourite there against Shanklin. Nods it forward, but it breaks the way of Cochrane. Clever cushion header to Beningame just outside the centre circle.
Hearts have picked up second balls better than Hibs. Got to say, anything that's dropped in that middle of the park.
Yeah, I'm looking for Vente to just try and drop in there. You know, he's staying too high up the pitch. Drop in there and get yourself around about in one of the midfielders.
It's back with Kent over on the far side to Atkinson, to Kent, to Atkinson. Well played out there by Hearts. They were boxed in over on the far side, but they managed to box themselves out of it, and then switched from the right to the left for Cochrane, who stabs it forward to Nieuwenhof. It's half-time in Paisley, with Kilmarnock taking 1-0 lead in at the break. Good shuffle there from Kent away from Boyle. The Hearts fans behind him enjoyed that. Very animated Stephen Naismith down there with his hand in his pockets. He's not happy with something. Quite the opposite from Nick Montgomery. Stands hands in pockets as well, but a much more relaxed demeanour.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Stephen Naismith, once that ball played forward over the top, there's a few times it was on, you know, and they've just turned back on themselves.
38 on the clock, 0-0. It's going to be a Hearts throw-in over on the far side in an attacking position. Once we get a decent stoppage in play, we'll get a first half report from our two Premiership matches being played this evening. It's going to be a long throw-in again for Hearts. This time Kingsley's over it, up against the East Stand advertising. Not much of a run up, but here he goes. Kingsley bowls it into the penalty area, headed away by Bushiri, breaks back to Kingsley on the far side. It was a heavy touch, that's allowed Jair Tavares to clear with the left foot, up high to the halfway line for Cochrane. We'll turn it back to Xander Clark. Let's go to Jane. Firstly, Livingston St Johnstone, half-time.
Yeah, 0-0 here, Liam, after Nicky Clark had that effort for the visitors, which fell well wide. It's been really all Livingston, to be honest with you. They're using their height really, really well, but Mitov in the St Johnstone goal has been dealing with the high balls in really, really well. He also dealt with an absolute rocket of a shot from Jason Holt. He was 30 yards out, was Holt. He absolutely cracked at the ball, and Mitov did really well to get his fingertips to put it just round the post. It's 0-0 here at half-time. It's been entertaining though.
No wins in 10 for Livy. Just a couple of goals in that run. Just one in their last 9. It's come off John Beaton meantime. The ball from Newell. Referee Beaton apologising to the Hibs midfielder. And he's taking charge of his 5th Edinburgh derby. Is John Beaton this evening. The man for the big occasion. It is Hibs on the ball with Fish just inside the Hearts half. He roams away from Nieuwenhof to the legs of Cochrane. Find Miller, who just didn't really know what he was going to do next, and what he has done is given it straight back to Hearts.
He's not having a particularly good game, Lewis Miller, in possession of the ball. And also, when Fish had that, he ran infield and gave the centre-half no option other than to run up the line himself, which is not exactly what you're wanting from your centre-half when you know that you're being left exposed at the back. It's just decision-making from Lewis Miller.
Final 5 minutes of the first half, 0-0. John, I have to say, I think Hibs' use of the ball's been poor tonight.
Yeah, especially in that final third, that final pass. But, you know, I'm quite impressed with the way they've set their tactics up, getting down the sides. And as we say, is a little bit of better quality for Muller down the right-hand side. But if Hibs are going to score, it's got to be down the sides.
There's another example of it. Boyle had gone heading off to the left, driving towards the box, and Tavares passing it to him, puts it behind him, and Hearts have it back. They've got a throw-in, and they end up over on the far side.
And a lot of it is unforced errors. It's not as if they've been, you know, pressured and hassled into, you know, making a bad decision or making a bad pass. A lot of it has been completely unforced errors.
Well, we've got just under 4 of the 45 to play. As Alan Forrest drives forward, Bushiri's the covering player, gets there first and turns it back to his goalkeeper. And David Marshall under pressure from Forrest, launching it forward onto the chest of Campbell. What a good touch that was. Campbell along the halfway line, back into his own half, switching it out to Tavares on the left. The overlap comes from Abita. Jair Tavares facing the Hearts goal, looks up at the box, crosses in at pace, comes off Kingsley's head. Clark goes up and punches it away. Good goalkeeping. And then Atkinson, poor clearance, straight to Tavares, the edge of the box, fancies his chances, shoots, deflected. Corner, Hibs, 0-0. 42 played.
Yeah, that was a great chance. It all started with Marshall, the goalkeeper, a long clearance up to Campbell, who's done great in this wide right area. You know, using his chest, holding the ball up, gets it into Tavares, gets it wide, cross comes in, and always getting a chance.
Corner for Hibs then to be taken by Newell. We will get to check as soon as possible. Watch the first half in Paisley. Watkins' goal, Kilmarnock 1-0 up. 0-0 Livingston St Johnstone, those two at half-time. Short corner, Newell to Tavares, rolls it to the edge of the box for Levitt, dinks it in, Bushiri fell to him, left angle of the 6-yard box.
Should have done better.
He's just popped it behind for the goal kick.
Liam, he should have done better. He had a half yard. He should have actually, you know, got a better connection. It was right on his right foot. Should have done better. At least I'm expecting him to get it towards goal, work the goalkeeper. That was a wee half chance here.
And 2 penalty failures early on in this game. 1 on 6, 1 on 14. The first for Hearts, second for Hibs. Shanklin and Boyle, normally so reliable, those two, in their respective colours. No goals. Heading towards the break. Campbell weak in the midfield. Cochrane wins it back off him. Loose ball though goes straight to Bushiri, who strides away from Nieuwenhof into the midfield. Bushiri now, he doesn't know what to do. He's gone down, he's not getting a free kick. Hearts have pinched it back, and it's Denham clipping it forward, asking too much of Shanklin. And it comes all the way through to David Marshall. Again, Stephen Naismith down there is apoplectic at something. He's not happy with their use of the ball in the attacking third. Hibs pick up with Levitt, and there's another loose ball. Hearts get it away. This time Dylan Levitt, long clearance. Shanklin's giving chase. He's got goal side of fish wide left of the box. Goes for goal. It's not far away. Over the bar it goes.
By the way, I mean, how has Lawrence Shanklin been able to get it? I mean, how does Bashiri and Fish not recognise?
It's a long clearance, It's a clearance and Shanklin's on it. So
Just
2v1, you need to take care of that.
Slow to react.
Coming in the final minute of the 45. Last we heard, a minimum of 1 would be added on to the end of it. Here's Campbell, he's gone long, looking for Martin Boyle. He's going to leave it for Miller though. Miller on the right hand side picks it up. Faced by Cochrane, low ball back to Tavares. Campbell wants it, Tavares can't find him. Another dreadful pass from a Hibernian player. That was a really promising moment there at the edge of the box, and if that drops to Campbell, he's odds on to get a shot at goal. It stays nothing each.
Yeah, it's once again, but it's good play by Hibs. You know, Campbell not playing wide right, coming in that pocket, asking a question to the full-back, do you come to a stay? And if he gets played in there, he's getting all the room in the world. The next one that has to come to him is a half centre back. And if he's clever enough and his distances are enough well away for the centre back, he's got all that space just to play.
I was certain when you saw the opening 10-15 minutes of this that there was going to be goals aplenty. Nothing as yet. We're into the first and only, as it stands, minute of stoppage time. Hibs have a free kick in an attacking position. Midway inside the Hearts half, over to the right. Newell bends it into the penalty area. It's won by a Hibs head, might break Campbell's way. It's inside the 6-yard area. As a couple of players down. It's gone Hearts' way though. Free kick's been given for Hearts. John spotted a handball, not sure by who, but it will be a free kick to the visitors, and it will remain goalless at Easter Road. And Michael Stewart, that looks like it's going to be the half-time scoreline. And if you'd said to somebody before a ball was kicked there'd be 2 penalties in the opening 15 minutes, Shanklin would take the Hearts one, Boyle would take the Hibs one, you wouldn't have been thinking you'd be sitting here with a goalless stalemate at the interval.
No chance.
There is half-time. Well, loads of errors on the pitch. It actually hasn't been a game for the purists to really enjoy, but it's been action-packed, that's for sure, if goalless. And those 2 opportunities gilt-edged. You don't get much more gilt-edged than a penalty. The handball by Bushiri in the box on 6 minutes. Shanklin's penalty bounced off the left-hand post, just clipped the outside of it and away behind for a goal kick, and it looked all the way as though Shanklin was going to make it. 16 goals for the season personally. He's been leading Hearts from the front quite literally this campaign. And then, having missed that opportunity, Martin Boyle did likewise up the other end. This time a handball by Kai Rolls after Dylan Venter really should have probably scored for Hibs. The penalty was awarded. Martin Boyle saw his effort low into the bottom left as he was looking at it. The goalkeeper dived to the right to make the save, tipping it onto the post, and away it went. The Hearts penalty came after a VAR check and on-field review that caught us, I think, all on the hop. Shanklin with an effort just towards the end of the first half there, but by and large both goalkeepers haven't really had saves to make. Half-time in the second Edinburgh derby of the season here in the Porteleith. The Hibernian 0, Heart of Midlothian 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
Well, they got off to an absolute flyer, didn't it? What a remarkable start to the Edinburgh derby. Penalty for either side, neither able to convert. There's not been an awful lot since then in terms of clear opportunities. A couple of shots blocked for Hearts, but and a couple for Hibs as well, actually. But really, as the boys have been saying during commentary, quite low in quality at times. 0-0. It is. It's certainly frantic. It's certainly exciting. Let's hope for a bit more football being played, I suppose, in the second 45. We'll get further consider thoughts of John Hughes and Michael Stewart shortly. I'll give them a few minutes to gather those. Let's get to the other two matches which have been taking place this evening. 7:45 kick-off, so they'll be getting ready to get up and running for the second 45. We'll go to Livingston. First of all, Jane, goalless between Livy and St Johnstone.
Yeah, no goals, Richard, in this one. But I have to say, it's been fairly decent fare as both sets of players just take to the pits. Livingston were first out. St Johnstone kept them waiting a little bit. Doesn't look like there's any changes from what I can see to either side. But yeah, listen, it's been decent. St Johnstone's best effort came early on as May beat Obolai for pace at the back. He squared the ball to Clark, who shot well wide. May and Clark early on, I have to say, were causing all sorts of problems for Livingston with their pace and their energy. But they did quieten down a little bit, and say no changes. It looks like Andy Considine is coming on for St Johnstone. Livy used their height really well in this one, Richard. They tried to search for the goal. Nottingham has been really effective with his long throw-ins to the box and long balls into the box as well. But I have to say, Dimitar Mitov in the St Johnstone goal has been really, really excellent in dealing with those long balls in. Brave in coming for them and then doing really well to hold on to them as well. He also did really, really well in stopping an absolute rasper, a 30-yard shot from Jason Holt. It would have been such a brilliant goal, but Mitov did really, really well to get his fingertips to it and just push it round the post. This second half is just underway between these two teams. I think we could have an interesting one. St Johnstone, well, they might just take a point here away from home. Livingston probably think they've done better in the first half in terms of to be ahead in this one. They are desperate for that win to end that miserable run, aren't they? An interesting 45 minutes lies in wait.
Yeah, Livingston just a single goal in their last 9 Premiership matches. My goodness, how valuable would it be if they were to get one in the second half? St Johnstone looking to continue what has generally been an improvement, of course, under Craig Levein. We're hoping to get to Chick, but there's an issue with his technical facilities at Paisley. Hopefully we'll get back to him shortly and get to his further thoughts on the first 45 minutes in Paisley. But it is St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1. Marley Watkins getting his 6th goal of the season. And in terms of the live table right now, Kilmarnock joining Hearts on the 30-point mark. And of course a little bit of a gap, the sides just below them. So it could be a massive win for Killie. Remember, got that impressive victory up at Pittodrie recently. They're on this 4-match unbeaten run, and they are ahead at half-time. Marley Watkins, joint top scorer for the campaign on 6 goals. Remember, highlight tonight of these matches, Sports Scene at 10:30 on BBC One Scotland. I've no doubt they'll throw in the highlights from yesterday as well. The Dundee 0, Celtic 3, the other fixture which has taken place over this festive 24 hours or so in Scottish football. So updates to come continually throughout the second halves of those matches in Paisley and in Livingston, and hopefully we'll get Chick before too long to get his thoughts. In fact, I'm told we can see if he's stabilised, which seems unlikely to me, knowing Chick has done over the years. But hopefully his line is stable and he can tell us about that first half.
Yes, I'm not taking the rap for the technical inefficiency of myself. It's the facilities here that are the problem, Richard. But in any case, we are about to start the second half. Remember that Kilmarnock are leading by a goal to 0. It was scored by Watkins, 6th of the season. Bit of good fine finish. I'll have to say that they were St Mirren were caught a bit flat-footed in the back. There was a space appeared to the inside right channel for Marley Watkins, and he had a terrific finish beyond Zach Hemming into the back of the net. And no change, I don't think, at half-time from either side. It's been a fine first half in testing conditions for the players. St Mirren did have the ball in the net. Ayunga early on, Olisanya, great work down the left, got it across, and it was a headed into the back of the net. But the offside flag went up. I think VAR checked on that, and they decided the linesman was absolutely correct. It was chalked off. So we're underway in the second half. Remember, we're 15 minutes ahead of the game in the Edinburgh derby. It's 1-0 to Kilmarnock, and Kilmarnock, as I look on, are shooting from left to right towards the airport end of the ground.
Chick, thank you. St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1, Marley Watkins, Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0. Those matches just getting up and running in the second half. We're at the interval, of course, in the Edinburgh derby, which kicked off at 8 o'clock. Lawrence Shanklin missing from the penalty spot in the 6th minute. He hit the right-hand post of David Marshall, and then what about 7 minutes later? 8 minutes later, the opportunity for Hibernian, and as Michael said during the commentary, Dylan Venter really had the score. His shot was blocked by the arm of Kyle Rolls. Another penalty, and this time it was Martin Boyle who stepped up, and it was a magnificent save. Actually, I think initially it looked as if it might just have come off the post, but it was actually, as Liam and the boys picked up on, it was a brilliant save by Clark, who knocked it onto the post, and then they cleared it away to safety. Eventually, it's incredible to think, John, that well, just how things calmed down, I suppose. Just in terms of what the game was offering. I know it didn't calm down in terms of its frenetic nature, but after that start, I think we were anticipating all sorts of thrills and spills. Yeah, it's been exciting, I have to say that. But the reason for that has been the ball, and the turnover in the ball has been given away so much. You know, so it's went to end. I just feel that tactically, Hearts might have to have a look at it, because the fullbacks of Hibs, in terms of Muller on one side and on Obito on the other side, they've got the whole pitch to go and play on. The reason being is because the wing backs of Hearts are playing against players, Tavares and Campbell, and sometimes Campbell's coming away into midfield and he's creating that overload in midfield where Muller's then taking off and playing wide right. So Hibs, you know, I know their best chances are coming for the wide areas, getting crosses in and all that stuff. So Hearts might have to have a look at it. Saying that, Hearts have stuck to their task. You know, they've had one or two good chances. Forrest looks, him and Shanklin looks like they've got plenty in them, link up well. So it's all to play for the second half, and hopefully we can get a goal. You know, sometimes games need a goal, and if you get a goal, it opens it up, and we can get a better game of football. The two teams are trying ever so hard, I have to say that. Yeah. You know, they're very competitive and getting at everything they've got. Sometimes when you do that, you forget that little bit of composure just to put your foot on the ball and pass it. And at times, listen, I will say they are passing it. It's in that final third. The last thing you do with that football, with that pass, that don't break your stride, put that in the back of the net, that pass, that one over the top, you know, and that's the one that's just went astray for both teams. Yeah, look, I think there would be no concerns, no doubts over the two penalty awards, both given, both checked, of course, and the VAR stepping in, certainly in the first one. But incredible to think that you put Lawrence Shanklin and Martin Boyle 12 yards out, you're going to fancy them both to score, aren't you? The two of them are actually the exact same penalties, and I was just thinking about it. The two of them have run up and sort of reversed it. Yeah. You know, and I was looking at Shanklin's one. The two of them have struck it well enough, but Lawrence has just got just sort of choked it a little bit. Yeah. You know, and it's just to sort of try and get in that far away corner, you know, and that's what sort of took it off the post and wide. In terms of Boyle's one, he's hit it well enough, and it was just a great save. A great save, and as Michael alluded to, when it's come back off the post, I think it was Campbell. You know, it was Campbell there. He should have just stepped on it and put it in the back of the net, but all credit to him. Sometimes when you make a save like that, sometimes you're due a little bit of luck, and I have to say Clark got that little bit of luck in terms of the rebound getting cleared. Yeah, that's as close as we've come. Those two early penalties. It is 0-0 in the English Premier League. Just over an hour played. It's Brentford 1, Wolves 3. Lemina and Hwang with a couple for Wolves. Vissa with a goal for the home side. Chelsea and Crystal Palace tied up at 1 apiece. Michaela Mudryk for Chelsea cancelled out in first half stoppage time by Michael Elise. And it's a Jack Harrison goal that has given Everton a 1-0 advantage over Manchester City. Man City in the live English Premier League table sitting in 5th place. Everton, of course, well, they've just had a very, very strong season given what they've been up against, and that would be some scoreline if they could pull that off. Let's go down to Brian, pitch side. We had been expecting a number of unusual or interesting practices being put in place. Slightly different way of broadcasting. Yes. So you've got a wee statement now, or a statement now?
A statement from the SFA. It says, contrary to reports and commentary ahead of tonight's Edinburgh derby, the Scottish FA did not block the use of communication equipment or cameras as part of the matchday broadcast. Upon learning of the plans via a media release, we asked IFAB on behalf of the clubs, league and broadcaster, and were informed on Christmas Eve that the intended use was not allowed within Law 4, which states that the use of electronic communication by team staff is permitted only when it relates to player safety and well-being, or for tactical or coaching reasons. We immediately relayed this confirmation from IFAB to the relevant parties, and that's where the SFA statement ends, Richard. So, clarification, it wasn't the SFA, it was IFAB, and it's not within the rules of the game, apparently.
Well, there you go. Well, happy to issue that clarification. It would have been very interesting, particularly in the opening 15 minutes when both sides had the penalties, just to hear what was being said in the technical area. You do wonder how much it would have affected things, and just in terms of the manager, his coaching staff, what they were saying down there. It didn't happen, and there's the reason why. It is down to the laws as implemented by the International Football Board. You just heard from Brian there. 3 games this evening in the Premiership. It is still early in the second half. Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0. It's Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1. Of course, it's goalless in the Edinburgh derby. Lawrence Shankland hitting the post with his penalty in the 6th minute. Martin Boyle having his penalty saved by Xander Clark onto the posts in the 15th, and the sides are deadlocked right now. I mentioned earlier, Kilmarnock in the live table level on points with Hearts in 4th place, so maintaining their excellent run of late. It would be a 5th game without defeat should they see it through, and they're ahead. We'll hear from Chick should anything change there. We'll hear from Jane should anything change at Livingston. I wonder if there will be changes for the second half at Easter Road. John Hughes, you anticipating any substitutions at the interval?
No, I think we'll get... we're just looking down where we are. I'm just... Hearts are making a substitution. It looks like it's Mackay it's coming on. I think it's the young kid that's went off. It's Mackay it's it's Denham it's went off, and it's Mackay it's come on. So that might be the change, they might go with 2 wingers, Mackay and Forrest wide. Now the Hibs fullbacks have got somebody to play against. We'll soon see, But one thing that Stephen Naismith is, he loves that 5 at the back. He loves these 3 centre halves. So, to get more men up the pitch, he might have to go 4 at the back, and I can't see him do that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and we're hoping just for a bit more quality in the second half.
Yeah, especially in the final third. As I say, it's been end to end. The 2 teams have gave it everything that they've got. Anyone that gives a little bit quality in the final third, usually, the business end, that's where you'll get your goals. And, if you can do that, just look after it in that top end of the pitch, that's where, as I say, that's where you get your goals. So hopefully that'll be the case in the second half.
Right, the players are making their way back out. I don't think we've got any more time to chat. Highlights, remember, on the telly tonight, 10:30 on BBC One Scotland. So we'll be done, and then you'll be able to watch all the action unfold, the highlights on Sportsy. Players back out, second half about to come up live here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with our commentary team of Michael Stewart, John Hughes and Liam McLeod.
The second half's underway here. Hibs right to left in the green and white against the maroon and white of Hearts. Hibs shooting towards the famous 5 end, as they tend to do in the second half of games. Here Hearts towards their bustling away end in the south stand off to our right, as we enjoy what is probably the best view for this job in Scottish football. The top of the main stand at Easter Road. That long ball goes out for a Hibs throw-in on this near side. The 2 best views probably in Edinburgh, the other one at Tynecastle nowadays at the back of the wheat field.
I know, we're just looking there. There's Hearts have went to a back 4.
Yeah. Well, they've made that personnel change. Barry Mackay coming on for Aidan Denham.
Yep, and Cochrane's gone into the middle of the park. I mean, the interesting thing is obviously Stephen Naismith was talking before the game that it's there's a flexibility in the team there. Well, this is it, back 4. They had to do something that was going to stop Hibs getting at their wide areas so easily.
No changes for Hibs at the start of the second half. Marshall in goal. Miller, Fish, Bashiri, Obita, Campbell, Levitt, Newell, Tavares, Venton, Boyle, Hearts, Clark in goal. And Atkinson, Kent, Rawls, Kingsley, with Cochrane now in the middle, and Nieuwenhof, Beningame, Forrest and Mackay supporting Shankland. Throw in Hearts over on the left-hand side in front of the East stand. Level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box. It was A rapid start to the first half, what so the second. Cochrane's thrown into the box, bounces off Miller, he was challenged by Shanklin. Mackay with a little chip ball into the 6-yard area, and Marshall holds on to it. Alan Forrest had peeled off to the back post, but it didn't ever reach him. It remains nothing each.
Obviously, a lot's been spoken about in terms of Hibs 4-4-2, but there is a little bit of a nuance with Campbell that comes that little bit narrower. Miller can get down the line, but also Boyle likes to spin in that channel. So both teams are a lot more not like for like, and not exactly the same, but there's a greater similarity between the teams now, and it is a case of individual battles now, because there's a lot more of a players up against each other rather than being different systems completely, and just trying to hold their shape.
As in the first half, we'll keep you up to date with Paisley and Livingston as we go along. We're 15 minutes ahead of us as John Beaton gives Hearts a free kick in the midfield. They've wanted to take it quickly, the ref wasn't ready, and that's going to be just to the right of the centre circle, a Hearts ball, which Frankie Kent is over just now. Goalless early in the second half. Kent waits to take, looking for some movement. Cochrane did offer him something, but he's changed his mind. Shankland just leading the line there, just trying to stay onside. And it's a long one from Frankie Kent, right-footed towards the edge of the penalty area. It's headed half away. Opportunity here for Josh Campbell. Tries to clip it into the box, cut out though, and it's Mackay across the face of goal. Just as Campbell tried to get it away, Mackay with a wonderful low ball across the 6-yard line, and Hibs get it clear, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0. Here is Beningame, just trying to hold off Dylan Levitt, rolls it back the way to Kent. Forward it comes to Cochrane, now back to Beningame, just going through the gears, stepping away from Levitt, driving forward. What a run it was, through for Lawrence Shanklin, who gives chase. Miller does so well, gets back to win the ball, back off the Hearts' top scorer and captain. It opened up beautifully for Lawrence Shanklin, and it was all because of Benny Beningame, who opened the door there. Wonderful midfield play.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant from Beningame. Josh Campbell, I think it is, that's crumpled on the deck. I think he was one of the players that tried to make the challenge on Beningame. He's in a fair bit of pain here, but Benny Beningame, beautiful little drop of the shoulder to begin with, and then the pace and the power to drive forward into the gap, and it was a really good ball through for Shanklin. That's just the one thing that Shanklin probably lacks, is that extra yard of pace. Good recovery from Lewis Miller, because otherwise Shanklin could have taken a touch and he'd have been getting a strike away on goal.
Yeah, if that's the other end, it's Martin Boyle. You'd fancy Boyle's getting onto that.
It's certainly getting onto it, that's for sure. But as you say, fantastic play. We're just looking there at Stephen Naismith calling a few players over.
Well,
but the whole game for me now at the tactics, because Hearts have changed their shape and their tactics, the whole game now it might even open up a little bit more. But it's certainly a fail that'll give Hearts a better foothold in the game.
Real problem here for Josh Campbell. Brian McLaughlin's our pitchside reporter. Brian?
Yeah, the stretcher bearers have been called, I'm afraid, so Josh Campbell's evening is over. Eli Yuan is going to be the player replacing him. Campbell didn't start too soon under Nick Montgomery, but he's come in and he's been fairly regular in recent weeks, but his day is over.
Yeah, well, he was one of the 3 changes that Montgomery made for this one tonight. Josh Campbell, Eli Yuan was one of the players who dropped out of the team, and that's going to be the change, as Brian was telling us there. But that's a bad one, isn't it, John, for Josh Campbell there, because he's obviously gone in on the stretch to try and prevent Beningame from making progress ahead of him. He's ended up hurting himself, and it's obviously bad enough that the stretcher's required.
Yeah, I have to say that, because he's a tough boy, Campbell. You know, he puts himself about, that's his style of play, and he's done well since he's come into the Hibs team. He finds himself in and out a little bit, but he's got a goal in him now and then. He goes in. He still has to, for me, he still has to become a better footballer. And what I'm trying to say there is, can you go and get on the ball, sit in midfield, play a few passes, switch the play, you know, and that he has to add that to his game. But sitting there, we can only wish him all the best, as you say, getting there on the stretch, and you don't want to see that happening to any player.
Yeah, I remember him bursting onto the scene. Primarily during their run up to and including the League Cup final 2 seasons ago, and Josh Campbell stretchered off. And the man who got both Hibs goals at the school end at Tynecastle in the derby in the autumn, Eli Yuan, will come on. So we hope Josh Campbell's okay. But Eli Yuan, well, we know what he's capable of, John. We know he's capable of the spectacular. We know he's capable of frustrating the Hibs fans as well in equal measure. But he could produce something special.
Yeah. You know, I was saying before the game, I'm surprised he was dropped. And I got a text from my mate saying because he was rubbish against St Johnstone the previous week. So you can understand that. But as the manager says before the game, he's a match winner, and hopefully, you know, for Hibs that might be the case.
Hearts thrown into the Hibs box, then play finally back underway. It's headed clear by Bushiri. Yuan gets his first feel of the ball, rolling it back the way Kai rolls with the challenge, and out it goes off the Hearts defender for a Hibs throw-in. It's about midway inside their own half. Long throw-in, looking to get Yuan involved immediately. Is knocked out into touch by Kent. Hibs have advanced in yards down that east stand side. And Hibs right as they attack the goal to the left. And it's rolled back to Will Fish. Remains 1-0 Kilmarnock in Paisley against St Mirren. Goalless Livingston, St Johnstone. As it is here at Easter Road. Bushiri with a run forward to Abita, tries to knock it forward to Venter, but it's cut out and it breaks to Nathaniel Atkinson. He switches it out to the left for Kingsley, having come into a central position. Back to Rolls, and it's forward into the feet of Cochrane. First time from Mackay. Out wide left Kingsley. Neuendorf gives chase. Will Fish slides in and puts it into the stand on the far side. And that will be a Hearts throw-in.
Eli Yuan's got an important role to play. And that's where I've got a slight concern from Hibs' perspective, is that defensively he switches off. And it's now, man-to-man in a great extent, especially down the sides there. You have to switch on and concentrate. Kingsley, he'll get down that line, he'll get in linking up with Mackay, and if Yuan switches off, Hibs could get punished there, because Lewis Miller's one that's concentration lacks at times.
Shanklin's done well to get the cross in. Forrest trying to take it down around the penalty spot. Under pressure, rolls it back to Cochrane, back to Atkinson, and he slices it high into the Hearts fans behind David Marshall's goal, and it will remain nothing each in Leith. Marshall taking the goal kick too quickly for John Beaton's liking. He will be the Hibs veteran goalkeeper. He's looked more like himself recently. He's playing it short to Bushiri. It's two teams that have generally been in pretty good form. They've both taken 12 points from their last 6. Only Rangers, and after their win yesterday, Celtic have taken more in that period of time. Both these two have taken more than the champions over the last period of games, as Kingsley comes burrowing down that left-hand side. His cross ball's cut out. Little pirouette from Yuan pleases the Hibs fans, then the skill to shuffle away from Kingsley as well. Fancies another bite to the Hearts number 3, and he wins a throw-in off him there. And now he's trying to whip the Hibs fans up into a frenzy over on the far side is Eli Yuan. 55 on the clock, 0-0. Again, that's what he can give you.
Yeah, certainly, but you're wanting that in the final quarter. Get him up the pitch, get him in the final quarter, let him go and do his stuff and work his magic. He's certainly got some, and he's got great pace as well. It's the end product.
Long ball for Dylan Ventas, too much on it, and it skips away from him. And behind for the goal kick to Hearts. Haven't seen much of Dylan Ventas since he won the penalty for Hibs early on in the game. They would obviously love to get their number 9 more heavily involved in proceedings.
I've got to say, when I first saw him in a Hibs jersey, I thought he could have been very effective and scored a lot of goals. Yeah, but he's not play like for a lot of the games now. I see him, he drops in. He's not like a Shanklin that sniffs out goals. And I thought when I first saw him, I thought he could have been that.
And I don't know if he's a great at dropping in, Michael, you know, so he's in between, isn't he?
He works very hard though. He does work very hard, but I think the difficulty is when you're playing Boyle, you want to get him on the shoulder of the last defender. I think he is best if he actually is just in and around the box, not coming and linking, but just getting himself in the box, because I think he's not a bad finisher if he's in those areas.
Well, he came to Hibs from Roda in the Dutch second tier after easily the best 2 seasons of his career. Still only 24. He's on the ball down the near side, gets away from Forrest, manages to nick the ball away from Atkinson, back to Newell, who whips it out to that right hand side for Miller. Right of the centre circle, up towards halfway, rolls it onto the touchline for Johan on the far side. Infield to Newell, stepping away from Cochrane. No goals as yet in the derby. Newell forward to Johan at the right angle of the box, and he can't give it back to Newell, gives it away.
Well, there you go. I'm not being funny, but see trying pirouettes and nutmegs and things like that in your defensive third, you might give the ball away and you're in serious trouble. Try it in the final third.
This is good from Hibs. Cross ball comes in, it's half away, next to Johan at the edge of the penalty area. It's nicked off him though by Kent. He's done well. Shanklin's away on his bike, but Kent takes the safer option and rolls it to the left for Mackay, who goes back to Kingsley at the edge of his box.
And that falls into the category of what John was just talking about, end product. He's in the edge of the box. That's where you have the licence to go and show a bit of imagination, show a bit of creativity.
Nothing each at Easter Road. 1-0 Kilmarnock at St Mirren, 0-0 Livingston St Johnstone. That's the story so far in the Premiership this evening. Here's Jair Tavares down the left-hand side. Up against Atkinson, gets away from him, but not from Forrest. Then he slips, and it's with Atkinson in the right back area for Hearts down on this near side. Clip ball for Shanklin, pushing the ball towards Nieuwenhof. He's giving it straight to Levitt though for Hibs. Levitt finds Ventaus, his shot pulled by Nieuwenhof will be booked, and Hibs have a free kick about 25 yards from goal here, slightly left the centre, on 58 minutes at 0-0.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. Johan fancies it. Newell's over it.
The 1 or 2 will be reckoning they can do something with this, Michael.
Yeah, well, it's not a fair distance out, but you're right, they will be fancying a pop at goal here, or working a free kick off the training ground. I just think from Nieuwenhof's perspective there, you know, he's been caught on the wrong side, okay, but do you really, I think it's a bit lazy to just pull the jersey there. I still think you're within physical contact, you can affect the player without having to pull a jersey, and also your defence are only about 4 or 5 yards away. I think it's a silly piece of play that gives Hibs an opportunity here to get a strike at goal.
Get news of a Hearts change after this free kick. Newell, it's a little chip ball, it almost worked as well, comes off Shanklin's head and behind for the corner. Really good, innovative attempt there by Joe Newell. Couldn't quite find Venta or Boyle. It's a little chip ball over the wall. Comes off Shanklin's head, and a chance for Hibs from the corner. Boyle takes, low back to Newell. Slides it to Dylan Levitt, clips in, little back flick header by Bushiri's over the crossbar. And it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0. In the 60th minute, and news of that Hearts change from Brian.
The second one of the evening, and the night is over for Alan Forrest. He's being replaced by number 77, Kenneth Vargas.
They're hoping that Vargas, Michael, will be the Josh Ginnelly of this season, because they are desperately needing someone to be that secondary striker who takes the weight off Shanklin, because tonight Shanklin's missed from the penalty spot. You can't rely on anyone all the time.
No, exactly, but you know, Vargas, like what I was saying with Vente, when he first came in, I thought, you know, a lot of promise there, but I'm not convinced. Now, you know, he's drifted a little bit. He's got a wee bit of pace. He's not got the same blistering pace that Ginnelly has. And end product, you know, Ginnelly took a long time to settle in, and then he found that roll through the middle, and him and Shanklin, they built up a really good partnership there. Vargas is just going to come and play on the right wing, and there's an opportunity, a big opportunity to perhaps show that there was more than just a little bit of promise early on. He could have this impact now.
Just 2 league starts, incidentally, for Josh Ginnelly for Swansea this season. As Hibs come down the right, Miller to Johan. Beningame comes out to meet him wide on that right-hand side. Brilliantly done by Beningame, but Johan equally so wins it back. Didn't look likely. This is Boyle. Back it comes to Newell. It's for Levitt, but it's a poor touch, and then the foul by Levitt. That'll be a yellow. He's cynically brought Vargas down, having lost possession. Vargas was away there, and he's just hauled him to the deck. Yellow card. for Dylan Levitt, and it's 0-0 on 61.
Yeah, that's what you'd want, taking one for the team. You know, there was a real, as I say, turnover there. See Shanklin still having a word with John Beaton.
Nieuwenhof was booked earlier as well. Let's go down to the other grounds. Chick's watching St Mirren, Kilmarnock. Chick.
We're at Kilmarnock still leading by that 26th minute Manley Watkins goal. St Mirren are getting themselves a little bit more into the game. They've made a couple of changes. McMenamin and Michael Mandron have come on, and Mandron actually is being effective inside the box. St Mirren have a corner at the moment. It's the wind is just controlling this game really. Ball swung in, can't get that clear. It's knocked about the box to Liam, but it's very much Kilmarnock who are gripping all 3 points at the moment. We have played 71.5 minutes, and it is St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1.
We're getting their away form sorted out. There is absolutely no reason why Kilmarnock cannot finish in the top 6 this season. What a good job Derek McInnes is doing there at Rugby Park. 1-0 up at St Mirren, who'd have only lost once in Paisley this season. That was to Rangers. We're down to 10 in that one as well, as Atkinson picks up on the right-hand side. We'll get to Livingston in a moment. The challenge from Jair Tavares as it breaks back to Beningame in the midfield. Rolls it back to Kent. Kent looks up at the pitch ahead of him. Low ball straight to Joe Newell, who then his body check was he by Beningame. The ref's happy with it. Beningame had his back to Newell, and Newell ran into him. Here's Cochrane slipping it out to Kingsley on the left to Mackay. Mackay on the touchline, infield to Atkinson. Goes a full 360 degrees back the way to Mackay, who bends the cross ball in. Vargas no right to win it. He goes for it, and it's come off of Bita and behind for a Hearts corner. In front of the visiting supporters off to our right. Yeah, 63 played, 0-0.
Bita doing his job, that long diagonal cross, you know, Bita on the back post, left back, doing his job, heading it out for a corner. That's all you can do.
Alex Cochrane comes out to take it on this near side. Our Hearts about to deliver the first blow of this second Edinburgh derby of the season. In swinging corner with the left foot from the former Brighton player. Into the 6-yard area it comes, and it beats everyone and goes behind for a goal kick. So the answer to that is no. 64 played, Hibs 0, Hearts 0. Jane Lewis at Ammanvale.
0-0 here as well. Luke Robinson thought he had put St Johnstone ahead. It was a lovely composed finish, but it was ruled offside in the build-up to the goal. It was good play in from the right. The ball was left for Luke Robinson to come running onto. As I say, a nice composed finish, but it was ruled for offside. Before that, Livingston had a couple of really good chances. Guthrie had a decent chance. Pittman should have done better. My goodness, he did ever so well to control the long ball over the top. I don't know what happened with the shot, but he absolutely shanked it and it went well wide. It should have been a better finish, but it wasn't. It's still 0-0.
That is a perfect example of people just passing responsibility and then turnover with a 40-50 yard ball. The number of times that Hibs building the game up there, and Levitt passes it back to Bashiri, and then donders into a bit of space, and Bashiri goes the wrong side. All of a sudden, Hibs have got almost 4 players being closed down and put under pressure by 2 Hearts players, because there's too many players not really desperate to get on the ball, and poor decision making. And in the end, Joe Newell picks the ball up, bit of pressure's applied on, he tries to clip a ball. He should still be able to make the pass, but there's a turnover. Hearts are able to force that turnover without any real effort from the whole team. It was just a couple of guys going and putting pressure on themselves.
Yeah, poor from Bashiri this time. 65 played, no goals as yet. Long ball for Hearts comes off the back of Vargas's head, but it's broken back to him from Atkinson. Vargas on this near side, square ball for Beningame. Rolls it out to the left for Mackay. Looks up, it's a disguised ball by Barry Mackay, but it comes all the way through to David Marshall. Stays 0-0. The quality in the final third from both has been poor tonight, and that long ball from Marshall's ball can't find Tavares, and it comes out of play for a throw into Hearts on this near side.
It's the right idea though, Liam, and that can happen, but I'd love to see that for goalkeepers. There's nothing frustrates me more than you get a keeper and he runs one side and he's going to throw it, he doesn't throw it, looks, someone else doesn't throw it, and all of a sudden the opposition are all back and comfortably in position. He's tried to get the break. If that throw is probably a yard less on it, Tavares is bombing down the wing on the break and potentially getting an unopposed attack at Hearts' backline.
Hearts have won 5 of their 9 away Premiership matches this season, only bettered by the top 2. Currently, Kilmarnock joining them on the same points. The live table in the centre circle, it's Mackay. We're heading towards the final quarter of this one, after both sides missed a penalty in the opening 15 minutes of the match. It's as close as anyone's come to scoring. Not much in the way of goalmouth action since then, as Vargas picks up spinning Obita and knocking it forward for Atkinson to give chase. Fish is there to stop it from getting through to him. And another loose ball.
Just put
Hearts
your foot on it. Just put your foot. I mean, honestly, the turnovers have been quite incredible.
Another one. It's constant, isn't it?
Yeah. Just a real lack of composure.
And there's a dreadful ball out of defence. Vargas at the edge of the box, shoots over. Well, Lewis Miller's apologising, but that's not the first time he's had to do that tonight. That could have been so costly, and Kenneth Vargas has rocketed that into the Hearts fans behind David Marshall's goal, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
Liam Michael just mentioned it, the turnovers is everything. That's giving you your chance, and someone's going to capitalise on it in terms of hitting the target, scoring a goal, or that final pass to say, there you go, put that in the back of the net.
Long ball, Bushiri, looking for Eli Yuan. He's managed to burrow away from Kent, might get the break of the ball. It's Yuan at the edge of the penalty area as Hibs attack here, and then he just overcooks it completely. Waited until there were 4 Hearts players around him, he'd nowhere to go. He loses it, and the visitors are away in the counter. Mackay to Nieuwenhof, Vargas to the right, Shankland to the left. Rolls it to Vargas, good challenging by Obita, and it's out of play for a throw-in. It's come off the Hearts man last as well. Hibs throw, that's on this near side.
It's decision making, and Eli Yuan's decision making is just very, very poor most of the time. You know, he picks that ball up on the edge of the box. Martin Boyle has an opening on the inside right channel. He's looking right at him, and he checks back in field into 4 Hearts players. The turnover happens, and then he ambles back. That's where, you know, when you talk about what's Eli Yuan capable of, he's capable of losing you the game as well. Very much capable of winning the game, no doubt about that, but he is equally capable of losing you the game.
Heading towards the final 21 minutes, feels like a big 21 minutes. These two teams' seasons. As I mentioned earlier, a Hearts win put 8 points of daylight between themselves and their neighbours. It's a pretty substantial gap as we head towards the turn of the year. Hibs don't play this weekend. They'll probably be annoyed that they and St Johnstone agreed to change the date of the fixture that was meant to be played this weekend. They moved it to the League Cup final weekend, and of course Hibs' game against Ross County was postponed, and the reason for changing the fixture in Hibs' heads was to ease the burden of games over the festive period. That is not back by Bashiri to his goalkeeper. Marshall plays it short to Will Fish. Short ball to Levitt in the midfield, forward to Eli Yuan. Early ball for Dylan Venta, Boyle's ahead of him, rolls it to the left of the penalty area. Tavares gets chase, Atkinson's there, corner or goal kick. Goal kick says John Beaton, and 3 sides of Easter Road disagree with the official.
Yeah, but there it is again, great build-up play from Hibs. That final pass inside the fullback to Tavares, you know, it's the one that's just lacking. That's the one that's going to score you a goal. That's the important one, that final pass.
It's just another example of it, what's been going on the field of play tonight here. You're heading towards the closing stages in the other 2 matches taking place this evening in the Scottish Premiership. Kilmarnock just minutes away from another win, unbeaten in 4, on course to make that 5. It'll just be their 2nd away victory in the Premiership this season. 0-0 in the other game between Livingston, rock bottom, St Johnstone. Livingston go to Motherwell next after tonight. Given away by Kingsley. He's given it straight to Eli Yuan, who's driving forward to the right of the penalty area. It's Martin Boyle. Early ball back to Venta, shoots, saved by Clark.
He needs to go back across him. Vente comes across for Boyle. He needs Vente, he needs to go back. back across the goalkeeper where it come from, away in the far corner.
It's a strike. You could just almost see he was a wee bit timid with it. It's a good position for Zander Clark to make the save, but very, very good pick out from Martin Boyle.
Goes back across him, Michael. Goal.
Yeah, I do.
Just needs to caress it low into the corner.
But I think he's almost within himself. He wasn't confident.
They have got a corner out of it after the save by Clark. And it's going to be taken by Martin Boyle in front of the famous 5 stand. Into the 6-yard area it comes. It's headed away by Kent. Back in it goes from Tavares. Headed down, still alive. Miller on the turn. His effort blocked by Rolls. Then Newell with the up and under into the penalty area. Beningame has left it. Tavares at the byline trying to keep it in play. Trying to keep this Hibs attack alive. Little spin. He spins it out of play. Goal kick Hearts, 0-0.
But you know, the whole Hibs attack there comes from slack bit of play for Stephen Kingsley. Now, he's not one that you would commonly or normally be accusing of poor decision making, simple passes, but it's affected him there because not a difficult ball gets cut out and Hibs are on the break.
Given away again by Hearts. Newell trying to profit the edge of the box, has to slide into retain possession, eventually loses it, but Hibs have plenty of numbers forward. Levitt to the left of the box for Tavares. Tavares, the left foot slips, still alive. Boyle goes down. John Beaton books him for diving. Boyle booked for simulation and he is not complaining. And that tells you he's a guilty man, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0 with 17 of 90 to play.
It was good refereeing for John Beaton. You could, to be honest, it was quite clear. It was quite obvious that Martin Boyle had thrown himself to the deck there. But just a couple of occasions there where Hearts wasteful. The ball goes into Barry Mackay. He's got to do better. He's got to be strong and hold it. Doesn't. Lewis Miller wins the ball. And then Joe Newell showed some real tenacity and desire when the ball was breaking around the box. He was second best on a couple of occasions, but he won it.
Really good game for you on the TV channel on Friday night at Tannadice. Dundee United, Partick Thistle in the Championship. 6 points between them in second and third in the second tier going into that one. So a massive game in the upper reaches of the second tier on Friday evening on the BBC Scotland TV channel. 7:45 kickoff. Saturday includes Celtic Rangers at 12:30. Hearts play Ross County a little later in the day. And one of the other fixtures taking place in the 3 o'clocks. Sports Sound will have you covered on those highlights of this game and the other 2 being played tonight in Sports Scene this evening. Here is Bushiri out to the left-hand side for Hibs. They're enjoying plenty of possession. Just in the last 5-10 minutes or so, it's Tavares on the left-hand side. Right foot ball into the box wasn't great, cleared by Kent. Shanklin then bundled to the deck clumsily by Rocky Bushiri.
How bad is that?
And that's a Hearts free kick.
No need. He's going nowhere. He's in his own half, going nowhere. Just stand up.
But not only that, John, he's going nowhere into 2 Hibs midfielders who are coming back to put a bit of pressure on his toes. And Rocky, it was so blatant. He just bundles it.
That's his game, Bashiri, isn't it? That's his game. He's heart on his sleeve, thinks he can get everything. You know, that's what makes him the player he is.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Sometimes he's got that in his game.
Here come Hearts down the left-hand side. Mackay, Shanklin with a little flick, but Beata's there to clear with Nieuwenhof, the furthest advanced of the Hearts players on that occasion. It's back with Cochrane, 75 on the clock. Hibs 0, Hearts 0. Beningame out to this near side for Atkinson. Wherever you are, it's good to have you with us here in Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland on Extra 810 medium wave, on digital and online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Second Edinburgh derby of the season. It is stalemate so far. Here's Atkinson for Hearts. Goal now could be huge. Cochrane forward to Kingsley, first time keeping it alive, out to Mackay on the left, to Atkinson, left-hand side of the box, wins the corner. Off the sliding Newell.
That was good build-up play from Hearts. You know, they were comfortable and
one side to the other, Michael. Making a few passes, being confident on the ball, taking care of the ball when they're passing.
In swinging corner coming up here from Barry Mackay. In on top of this Hibs defence. Hasn't always been reliable this season. As that defence, Mackay swings it in, headed away by Fish. Bouncing ball, awkward for Beningame. Boyle gets away from him, driving down the right hand side. He's on his own though. Boyle, Hearts are flooding back. Hibs eventually getting players forward in support. Boyle still in his own down the right hand side, and eventually runs into Nieuwenhof and then clips Nieuwenhof down. He's already been booked just a few minutes ago for the simulation as Martin Boyle.
I'm just looking at going back to that last corner. Every corner Hearts have had, Fish's header, he's picking up no one, is in that no man's area right in the middle of the 6 yard box, right in there. That's his job, to go and attack it, and he's headed most corners. If I was a Hearts player, I'd make sure the next one that comes in, he's getting knocked on his backside. Just let him know he's in a game.
This was looking or shaping up to be a derby for the ages in the opening stages of the game. It hasn't worked out that way, but here comes Nieuwenhof for Hearts into the Hibs box. Low ball back for Shanklin, cut out. Cochrane shoots as it breaks back to him about 20 odd yards from goal, but it's a weak enough effort, tame enough for David Marshall to not even have to dive to get onto it, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
The thing that Hearts have been able to do in the second half is they've stemmed that flow and the tide down the wide areas to a great extent. I mean, it's not to say that nothing's come from it, but in the first half it was constant and it was so clear, but they've managed to just sort of suffocate that a little and slow down any attack that Hibs have been having. The problem has been, for both sides, has been their poor decision making and passing, which has allowed the opposition to break on them, their turnovers.
Teams just look naturally more comfortable in the back four than they do back 3/5.
Some teams, yeah, a lot of teams, and this is certainly, I would suggest that the first half performance in the second half would make you feel like doesn't feel like there's as many square pegs and round holes.
Yeah.
So goalless here, and they are into the final 10 minutes or so. And the other two, St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1, Livingston 0, St Johnstone. Oh, sorry, right into the closing few minutes of that one. I think they've gone into stoppage time at Avon Vale, goalless, and the final couple of minutes in Paisley, 1-0 Killy. Watkins' first half goal, the difference there. The only goal in the 3 Premiership matches tonight so far. Just over 10 to play here. It is Eli Johan picking up, looking to squeeze it back through to Miller, right hand side, the attacking third. Hearts clear, Mackay slides in, keeps the ball to Cochrane, to Shanklin, to Beningame, looks to knock it through towards Shanklin, cut out though. Levitt has it, the two behind, but now it's Hibs on the attack. Jared Tavares attacking the Hearts penalty area. He's into it now, his efforts blocked, breaks back to Johan who shoots, and Clark bundles it away in an unorthodox fashion out to the far side. And the long ball cleared for Hearts. It stays 0-0. It broke beautifully for Eli Johan at the edge of the Hearts box.
And it was a good strike, but it was right at the goalkeeper. If it's a yard either side, then I think the pace is too much and it would have been in the back of the net.
It's both Johan and Venta denied by Clark in the second half. Bushiri, big switch, that's better from Hibs. Out to Miller. Miller's low ball into Johan, looking to get it back to Lewis Miller at the byline. Couple of players challenging for it. It comes into the box though. Awkward bounce, clear by Rolls. Now it's with Levitt over on that right hand side. There's not just 3 points at stake, there is bragging rights in the city to be had as well. Here's a beat on the left hand side. Looks up, gets the cross ball in. Awkward one again for Rolls. He manages to scoop it towards Kent, who completes the clearance. Only half away goes. It's flicked forward by Venta. He couldn't find Boyle. Cleared by Atkinson. Good period in the game this for Hibs.
Yeah, I feel Hibs have been a better team in the last 10 minutes for the simple reason they're passing the ball and they're keeping it. Hearts can't get a hold of it.
Joe Newell in the reverse ball. It's a poor one though, poor execution. And it sails behind for a goal kick.
But when you're doing that, Liam, when you're on top, you need to score your goals. You need to take that. If a chance comes, you need to take it. That one that Johan had, that was a half chance. You know, but these need to be going in for you.
Venta's one's the better chance, isn't it? And it's been the best opportunity in the second half. But the whole game since the penalties.
Liam, I'm just wondering if we were a little bit hard on when it's coming across. Was a little bit off balance, maybe?
Yeah, either way, it's an opportunity missed for Hibernian.
The best chance of the game for me was the one that led to the Hibs penalty when it dropped to Venta, and he's probably about 10 yards out. His first touch was caught under his feet a little bit, but still, the goal is at his mercy there.
Hibs are going to go to their subs bench in a moment. We'll get to Brian to talk us through that. It's picked up by Tavares on this near side, midway inside his own half, under pressure from Vargas. He goes back to Obita. It's all over at Amon Vale, and Livingston have gone 11 games without a win. St Johnstone still looking for an away win in the Premiership this season. They've only had 3 this calendar year, but it finishes Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0. Long ball for Hibs. Down the right went Miller. Long ball into the central area for Boyle. Knocked back the way in. Hibs lose possession in the midfield, and it's now with Barry Mackay in the centre circle, chipping it forward towards Vargas. Good header by Obita, and he gets it back to David Marshall. Let's go to Brian pitchside.
Yeah, 8 minutes left, Liam, and just the second substitution for Hibernian tonight. James Jago is going to be coming on. He's going to be replacing Dylan Levitt, who's been booked earlier on.
Hearts have it. Mackay through towards Shankland. He's on to it between the centre half. Shankland looks up at the goal, shoots, saved by Marshall. Back it comes to Shankland. Left hand side of the box. Hibs look like they're walking in treacle there. Cochrane loses out. Levitt got the touch onto it, now for a Hearts throw in, and now the change will be made.
But I mean, Levitt's obviously coming off now. That break from Hearts comes from Levitt. Not a difficult pass again. I mean, it's been quite incredible the number of balls that have been not just cut out but almost passed straight to the opposition without a lot of pressure being on the ball, and then leading directly to the counter-attack for the opposition.
Jane Lewis, Amon Vale finished goalless.
Yes, it did, Liam. Another goalless game here for Livingston, although they will have taken a point against St Johnstone. I think they really could have had all 3 in this one. Scott Pittman and Bruce Anderson had 2 brilliant chances as the clock ticked towards full time in this one. And then right at the death, Mickey Devlin, the captain, had his head in his hands as he had a glorious chance, turned in the box and just blazed over. Glorious chance to get that long-awaited win right at the death. Luke Robinson for St Johnstone, well, he thought he had scored before all that action unfolded, but the goal was ruled for offside. That was in the build-up to that goal. The miserable run for Livingston continues without a win. Long-awaited 11 games now, isn't it, without a win for Livingston. Positives to take from this one, but still no sign of 3 points coming their way. St Johnstone, I would fancy, to be quite happy to leave Amon Vale with 1 point on the road. It finished here at Amon Vale, Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0.
That leaves Livy 4 points adrift of Motherwell. They've both played the same number of matches, and the 2 go head-to-head at Fir Park on Saturday. What a match that is. And that'll be part of the coverage on Sportsound at the weekend. Kilmarnock just waiting on confirmation of their victory in Paisley that looks to be coming. Hibs have a free kick on the far side, and Lewis Miller brought down by Cochrane. 84 on the clock, getting to the point now that if you score, you win the Edinburgh Derby for your team. That's where we're at.
Yeah, that looks the case. 2 teams have had chances. Shankland there, that chance there, you know, in the breakaway, just went on his left foot, brought out a great save from Marshall. You know, great strike. And the one Johan earlier on.
Free kick, Hibs. Newell pumps it into the box. Atkinson gets it half away. Jago steals himself at the edge of the box, but rifles it over the bar. Having taken the touch with the right, he shoots with the left. It's over Xander Clark's crossbar, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0. Michael, as we go into the final 5 minutes of the 90.
Well, it's been lacking that quality in the final third. There's no doubt about that, and I think if either side shows a little bit of it in the remaining minutes here, you would you'd be, if you're a betting man, thinking that'll be it, game over, 1-0. Just so wasteful from the both sides. They've had so many openings to go and exploit, but they've not been able to do it. We're one of them to finally get their names on the score sheet. You would suggest and think that would be the game. That would be the 3 points for their team.
Do either of these teams deserve to win this game?
Possibly not. I think a draw is probably a fair result.
Doesn't always work out that way though. Tavares can't control. Kent gets it away from the halfway line up to Nieuwenhof. Now infield to Beningame. Square ball at close quarters for Mackay. Mackay eyes up the Hibs box, rolls it wide right of it for Vargas. Takes for a run towards the byline. Looked at least win a corner. He has played it across, cut out by Bushiri. And he launches it out for the Hearts. Throw in level with the Hibs penalty spot on this right hand side. It's all over in Paisley, and Kilmarnock have another 3 points. Really impressive 1-0 victory at St Mirren, who lose in Paisley for just the second time in the Premiership this season. We'll get to check for a full-time report in a moment, but Hearts have a throw-in with 86.5 on the clock. Into the box it comes, Hibs head clear. It's only half away, Mackay has it, outside of the boot, flicks it forward, it comes off Bushiri's head. Now it's Atkinson firing it in, away from the 6-yard line by Newell. Hearts come again with Cochrane, runs into trouble, but gets the break of the ball and turns it back to Beningame in the centre circle. Everyone, bar Zander Clark, was in the Hibs half there. There's Beningame taking it for a run out to the left-hand side for Kingsley. Kingsley infield to Nieuwenhof. Now it's with Mackay in a central area. It's a poor ball by Barry Mackay, flicked to the outside of the boot, straight to Boyle, who's away from a couple of challenges, driving towards the halfway line. Beningame comes back to get onto him and does. Ball was cleanly taken. John Beaton tells Martin Boyle to get straight back up. No free kick.
Well, to be fair, I do think that Beningame came on that side and made the block. Great drive and run. You've got to say, Barry Mackay, that's a free kick, and that's a yellow card all day long.
Yellow coming.
But I was just going to say, Barry Mackay, he's come on to the game, he's walked for most of it. He's tried to pick up a wee pocket of space and find a wee pass, but he's never found anything. He just keeps giving the ball away.
Yeah, that one there, he's trying to slot Vargas, and Vargas made the run out to in. Vargas should just stay wide and take it to his feet and go one-on-one.
Yellow for Nat Atkinson there. Brian can bring us news of a Hibs throw of the dice.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be the third and final change as well. Dylan Vente's been replaced, and coming on is Christian Doidge. 4 goals so far. What he would do for a 5th goal of the season tonight.
Crowd of 20,150 inside Easter Road's just been announced here. Christian Doidge scored in this fixture. Remember his one at Hampden in the Scottish Cup semis a few years ago. He also put through his own net in this fixture in the first meeting between them this season, the 2-2 draw. Newell's free kick into the box. Doidge does win the header. He wins loads of headers, but that one goes harmlessly through to Clark.
He should have done better. It was actually right on his head. I'm expecting more, getting more on it and put it right across the goal.
Right, we're about to go into minute 90. From what I understand, there will be 5 minutes added. Long ball forward from Clark, under the head of Obita, who heads on. Boyle flicks on, breaks to Beningame in the midfield, and he goes back to Rolls. Let's go for a quick full-timer from Czech in Paisley.
It's Kilmarnock who've picked up 3 points tonight. 1-0 win, only goal of the game. Manley Watkins after 26 minutes. 4-point gap opened up between the clubs. St Mirren in 5th place now. Kilmarnock in 4th. Big win for Kilmarnock tonight, and a standing ovation from a big crowd. Their support, 7,500 excess of inside the Smiza Stadium.
Yeah.
And I think Billy Connolly would have described this game as windswept and interesting.
Hibs attacking here. Doidge, Tavares. Doidge waits for it, but he doesn't have the quality in the cross. He can't find the Hibs sub. And then goes behind for the goal kick, and it will stay 0-0 as we approach 90 minutes. Chick confirming there. St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1, and what a win that is for Derek McInnes' side.
That was great play from Christian Doidge. It was also tremendous defensive work from Tavares.
Yeah,
he was battling away against Atkinson 2, 3, 4 times, eventually winning the ball. Atkinson, he was knackered, couldn't even raise his head to get back, whereas Hibs were breaking on them. Doidge, he was running through against 3 or 4 guys on his own, held it up, waited for Tavares to get up and support. Very, very close there for Hibs.
We're into the first of 5 minutes of stoppage time. John, you're the manager of one of these teams down there. You obviously were at Hibs, played in this game. Do you go for it? Do you go to win it now, or do you settle for the draw?
Yeah, but that's my nature. I always want to go for it. Even if it means making a substitution or try to tweak it, you go for it. You want to get the 3 points, especially if I was a manager of Hibs at Easter Road. But there you go, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, hero, villain, whatever you want to say, but go for it. I'm looking at Hibs now. Have they got there, 3 or 4 minutes to go? Have they got enough there to go and win it? Possibly, but I might have even just try to shake it up and say to Boyle, it's not really been great through the middle. Can you go and play wide right just to see if you can gear someone out there, just to just a little bit of change, just give another spark. But credit to both teams. The game's been non-stop. I have to say that. It's been non-stop. They've put so much work into it.
There's been no lack of effort. Benny Beningham's been down for the last minute, so we played almost a minute and a half of 5 that were added, but the stoppage time's barely really started. You could probably add at least another minute on top as things stand just now. Beningame will be back on in a moment. And in fact, on he comes straight from the goal kick from Clark into the midfield, headed forward up towards Doidge. Poor headed away by Kent. Doidge gets onto it. Boyle's waiting in the middle. Yuan's there as well. It's pulled back to Yuan. Takes a touch. Right hand side of the box. Looks up for goal. Hits it with the left. It's deflected through. And Clark holds on at his near post. And it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
Doidge has made a difference. He's brought a bit of energy to that front line. He's cut it back. I don't know if he's talking or if Joe Newell's talking to Johan, but Johan stops it when if he just lets it roll through him, Newell's stepping onto it behind him, and he's got a far greater angle at getting a strike away on goal.
The Hibs sponsors have named Joe Newell man of the match. Bashiri's lost up the other end here. Shanklin's in! Scores! Shanklin scores! Hibs have given it away! Rocky Bashiri culpable! And Lawrence Shanklin does it again! And sends the maroon and white half of Edinburgh into ecstasy! It's a brilliant finish from Shanklin, arching it to the top left corner. Hibs are heartbroken in the second Edinburgh derby of the season. In stoppage time, Shanklin has surely won it. It is Hibs 0, Heart of Midlothian 1.
What a goal, Liam. I mean, look, first of all, it's a monumental error from Bashiri. Terrible defending. Terrible defending. But the moment of magic and quality from Shanklin, because he's had a few opportunities quite similar, in areas where it's just not opened up for him. That one there, as soon as it dropped him, you just thought danger, and he shifts onto his left foot. The finish is exquisite. It really is.
What we're saying about it's a long ball, it's a goalkeeper's kick out, centre half, you have to go and head it. This time you have to, albeit Shanklin's getting as good as he's got, the two of them are tussling, it falls down in the middle of the two of them. Shanklin gets the break of the ball, luckily, and then 2 touches later it's in the back of the net, left foot finish.
Where would they be without him? 16th goal of the season for Shanklin, 17 if you include his goal for Scotland in Tbilisi. They're just checking the goal here.
Got the fireworks on the pitch, the boys on with the bucket.
John Beaton still had his hand to his ear down below us. But Lawrence Shanklin, what a lovely left-footed finish that was.
I'm not sure what they would be checking though.
That's a foul on Bashiri, are they looking at?
Or is there a handball in there?
No, it's okay. No. Goal stands, and the Hearts fans get to celebrate again. There's less than a minute of official stoppage time left, but that looks to have won it. Shanklin's 5th Edinburgh derby goal, and again underlying his undeniable worth to this football club.
He's invaluable. He's invaluable. Hearts cannot afford to lose Lawrence Shanklin in the January transfer window. He's the difference between potentially getting into Europe next season or not. It's as simple as that. And you can't put, you can put a monetary value on that, but he brings so much more to the Hearts side.
But what a week and a half this has been for Hearts. And go to Celtic Park, win, beat St Mirren at the weekend, and they look like they're going to win this one as well without conceding a goal.
Yep. Huge, 3 massive wins. They really are.
And this would put them 8 points clear of Hibs, and they're now just seconds away. We've played the 5 minutes. There will be time added on for the Beningame injury and then the goal celebrations, but that entire away end is bouncing in tandem to Lawrence Shanklin, to the tune of Lawrence Shanklin. As Clark goes long, Shanklin flicks on and finds Vargas on this right hand side, looking to nick it through to Shanklin again.
Bashiri's been deployed up front. Liam, centre forward, you need to get up there then if you're going to use it.
Well, we don't know.
It's a long ball.
We don't know how long's left. All I can tell you is that we're approaching the end of a 6th minute of stoppage time. Newell with a long left foot ball forwards, headed away by Kent. Hibs might get one chance here with Jai Tavares on this left hand side. Dinks the ball in, Doidge tries to win it, it's nodded clear and out for a Hibs throw in. is their time. It's level with the penalty spot. We're into your 7th minute of stoppage time. 5 were added officially. Long throw in from Obita in towards the 6-yard box. Flicked up into the air, Bushiri knocks it down. Jego might get a second bite at it. Still alive, Jego goes down, Hearts clear. Boyle goes to retrieve. Rolls it back to his keeper, John Beaton's at a long lingering look at his watch. Still play goes on. David Marshall, long with the right foot towards Doidge. One in the air at the edge of his penalty area by Atkinson, and Hearts get it clear. And here's Shankland. His pass goes straight back to Hibs though, to Miller. Still play goes on. He's had another look as the referee. I think that's it now though. It's all over. Hearts win in Leith. Lawrence Shankland, both fists raised in the air, is the man yet again for the Jam Tarts. A 16th goal of the season. He's one of their great strikers in the modern age. And he stroked the ball home in second half stoppage time to win this derby for Midlothian. It looked a stalemate all day long. But when you've got Lawrence Shankland in your team, he can make the difference. And this is another extra 2 points that Hearts have picked up because of him. Exclusively because of him. He is priceless for this Hearts team. And he's been the difference on Derby Day here in the capital. And it all started with him missing his first penalty in Hearts colours, as he saw it clip the outside of the left-hand post. Boyle then saw his penalty saved just minutes later. And after that, Hibs probably had the better opportunities. Ventage had scored in the incident that led to the spot kick. And he had a really good opportunity in the second half as well. So did Eli Johan. Doidge came on and made a difference. But it looked like it was going to be a point apiece up until Bushiri's mistake. And when you've got Lawrence Shankland up against you, you cannot afford to make errors like that. Shankland ran in behind him and unleashed a wonderful finish into the top left corner, right in front of the Hearts supporters, to send them into dreamland. There's nothing sweeter than a derby victory. There's nothing sweeter than a late derby victory, and that is exactly what Shankland has given the Hearts supporters this evening as the Hibs fans troop out of Easter Road, desolate after that late show. An absolute sucker punch. Shankland's 16th of the season, 8 points now between these two in the Scottish Premiership, as Hearts move back solely into third spot. It finished here. One is a dramatic evening at Easter Road. Hibernian 0, Heart of Midlothian 1.
On digital radio,
FM,
online.